Well, that happened. I don't even know what to say anymore, guys. I covered so many of these, and they somehow still get worse. That was... And what's unbelievable about this one is that had everything until the very, very, very end, until that last throw. It had everything that... And the only thing that wasn't the problem was the quarterback for one time. And it's still not the quarterback's fault. I don't even know what to say. Take it away, guys.
I really think you should just do the show by yourself. I don't think Greg is even remotely capable of doing this, even though maybe he'll rise to the occasion. I'm going to have a hard time doing it. That just feels impossible. And
not with that defense.
Well, okay, let's start there. Look, at the end of the first half, they're up 21-7. They're acting like they're trying to sit on the ball and the game's over, and I'm sitting there like, can we try to score points here?
Any urgency?
Let's go. Let's go. Have you seen your defense? They just sat there and did that. Then, you have the lead. You're up 7. You're running the ball. Everything looks great. Then we're going to run some misdirection, weird play that's going to put your quarterback in a terrible position. And like the one thing that you couldn't do, they did. Incredibly. I mean, how is that even possible that play happened? But it happened. And then, right here, I said, go for it at the 19 because I did not want them to lose on a Broncos touchdown. But you rush up to the line, you do all your weird stuff, you burn a timeout, then you decide to go for it. You go in the gun, and you give it to Khalil Herbert, taking the ball out of your best player's hands. Khalil was having a great game. I get it. But that was not the play call. Put it in Fields' hands, under center, let him move right, have maybe an option out there for him, keep it himself, whatever, somebody to throw to, something more creative. We're going to be in the gun and hand it to Herbert. Oh, my God. My God.
For our podcast listeners, let me...
My God.
Reset up the show because they can't see us. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, Greg Braggs Jr. After one of the most crushing losses, it's got to be in Bears history.
That's what sucks so much. The guy played a phenomenal game. They've lost 13 games in a row. Your season's on the line. You had to have it. You were up 28-7. You lost the game. That's impossible. That is seriously impossible. You can. That isn't. If you played that game 1,000 times.
Justin Fields finished 28 of 35 for 3. He threw over 300 yards for the first time in his career. 335, 4 touchdowns, and didn't throw an interception until his last play of the game.
I'm not sure what Kmet was doing on that ball. We'll talk to Cole about it.
The point is, how can you have that performance from your quarterback and blow? Not just lose
to the Broncos too. It's not like the Patriots came back with Tom Brady and beat you. Wow.
Greg?
Yeah, I'm catatonic. I mean, I can't even describe to you how heartbreaking this is. It's hard for me to even do this right now because I'm so pissed off. It's not even funny. Like you guys mentioned, the way Justin Fields started this game, setting a franchise record for completed passes in a row to start a game with 16, and then to finish the game for the first time in franchise history, or a franchise record of blowing a 21-point lead. So they start off with a franchise record in the positive manner and finish it in the most embarrassing fashion possible. And at the end of the day, we've been going over this question over the last 2 weeks. Whose problem is it? Who is the problem? And today it was on full display. Justin Fields was not the problem today. It was the coaching. Because Luke Getsy, on the fumbled snap, yes, Justin Fields could have ate the sack, but they were running the ball with authority on that drive. That's the kind of fourth quarter drive that wins you games. Pound the ball with Khalil Herbert. It's working. Adam Hoge called it. When you run a play-action boot, they'd already sniffed it out once. Boom, fumble, goes the other way. Tie ball game. Now you have an opportunity to take the lead. And what do? And this is where it's going to piss me off, where we just want to say fire Luke Getsy. You go, like you said, on fourth down, you run up to the line of scrimmage, you try to get him off sides, you take the timeout. Kick the goddamn field goal then. Instead, you've now burned a timeout, you come back to the line of scrimmage and run a fourth down play out of shotgun. Have they done anything this year in a short yardage situation that's given you any hope that they're going to succeed in it?
Well, that's
the Cole Kmet freaking sneak at the beginning of the game barely worked. You knew it wasn't going to work. They have not proven they can do that in that moment. Take the goddamn field goal. They don't. They lose the game. Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy should be fired tomorrow. Period. End of story. Franchise record for the worst loss in a comeback. Franchise record for the most losses in a row in franchise history. Franchise record for 14 straight games of giving 25-plus points up or more. And oh, by the way, Luke Getsy, you screwed your quarterback's best game of his career, and now he's got to wear the mistakes he made at the end as well.
That's what I think is the most – we can get into all this stuff, and we will. We're going to be here for a while, I can tell. Duke, Super Chat, $100, interrupting you to say, yep, seems about right. Thank you, Duke. We love you.
Sorry.
What you just said there at the end is by far the worst part of this. Did you see the camera shot of Justin Fields when this game was over? I mean, he looks worse than you right now, Braggs.
I don't blame him.
And so instead of building, because I just saw it in the comments, building block for Fields, we can take one positive of this. Sure, the tape's going to mostly look good. At some point, you have to feel the good vibes of winning. And the problem is still at the end in the fourth quarter, he turned the ball over twice. And I'm not blaming him for that. I'm talking about what he goes home thinking about tonight. He's not going to go home thinking about how he went 23 of 24 to start the game. He's going to think about how he's 5 for 11 to end the game with 2 turnovers mixed in. Okay? And I am not blaming him for that. I'm blaming the defense and the coaching for not turning this into a fucking blowout like it should have been. And your quarterback could have gone home feeling great about himself. And instead, you got basically 6 hours to flush this thing and come in tomorrow to start talking about the Washington Commanders because you got a game in 4 days.
Well, that's the best thing about it for them as far as moving forward. Like, yeah, you play Thursday, but the fact of the matter is they're 0-4, and you lost to Denver at home, up 28-7. But the sight of Fields on the sidelines, despondent, was heartbreaking. But his support system, his father, who he's super close with, hey, dude, you played a phenomenal football game. I get all that you're saying, but I do think once you move past that, if you're him and you settle into, I threw 4 touchdown passes, I was floating around, I was feeling like myself, I was playing free. Like, I do think ultimately just for him specifically, he should come out of this game feeling a whole lot better than he's been feeling through 3 games. He should sleep a zillion times better tonight than he's been sleeping. I get it that it came against the Denver Broncos. I don't care. I don't care at this point for him. It's an NFL team. He played a hell of a football game. He's got some stuff in the fourth quarter that he's got to do better. Namely, when they call a terrible play and he's got 2 people in his face, just take the 20-yard sack and eat it, which is what he should have done. And I mean, the throw to Kmet, I think that was like to me that was almost as much on Cole as it was on Justin. We'll ask Cole about it. So I'm not thinking about that.
I would fire Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy today, and I would beg Greg Roman and Lovie Smith to come here, take over the offense, take over the defense. Both could come here, specifically Greg Roman, and set up your whole career. Because if you can come here and take Justin Fields and do what he did today and extrapolate that, you're now one of the hottest commodities in football. I'd be banging on his door. I would be flying the private jet to Greg Roman's high school, wherever he's coaching or whatever he's doing right now, and I would not leave until he can come here and coach Justin Fields.
He is available, and I don't think they're going to do any of that, but they did show the happy pulls early in the game, and he was having the time of his life, and then they showed him late, and he looked like he was going to jump out of the skybox that he was sitting in. I mean, he couldn't have had a worse look on his face, as you would imagine. So how does this land with him? I don't think he's doing anything immediately, but this is a horrendous, beyond maybe unrecoverable loss for Matt Eberflus.
I mean, the only thing that's
going
to save them is the fact that they have a Thursday game. Otherwise, they'd probably be fired tomorrow.
Right, but okay, let's just play that out then. Okay, let's go into reality. They're not going to fire him tomorrow.
Correct.
They play Thursday. They lose. You've got 10 days.
They're fired. They should be.
If he was going to do something incredibly
bold, if you have any
bold,
sense of pride as an organization, they should be.
I mean, that's going to get a lot of conversation this week. I don't know. Rational Hoge, what do you think about that thought process right there?
Firing him after the Washington game?
They lose to Washington. They're 0-5. What happens?
I don't know how it's not on the table. If you're a serious organization, that was ridiculous today. You know what just came across my timeline here, too?
I want to know what
you know who had 3 sacks today?
I have no idea.
Nicholas Moreano.
Oh. Well,
the Bears have 2 the entire season.
Look, everybody.
You don't even have to search hard to find embarrassing stat after embarrassing stat after embarrassing stat.
I mean, Dave Montgomery scoring 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's pretty embarrassing.
Nicholas Moreano, off-the-ball linebacker, had 3 sacks today. You have 2 the whole season as a defense.
Not great, Bob.
I mean, at some point we got to laugh about this. Like, this is just how is that possible? How did that happen? How did you do this? I mean, like, Bears fans, seriously, y'all are unbelievable. The crowd at Soldier Field today, the atmosphere. I mean, we're sitting here, so I didn't get to feel it myself, but from the seat on the couch here, it just looked absolutely positively incredible. For an 0-3 team that's lost 13 games in a row, y'all were out there giving literally everything you possibly could to help the franchise. And this was the payback.
And you know what the likelihood is, the actual scenario, when you want to talk about going into reality? No one will be fired tomorrow. If they go 0-5 to Washington, Luke Getsy will be fired. But to me, that's what pisses me off, is the whole game is encapsulated in the 4th and 1 decision. And you're going to blame Luke Getsy because he's the offensive guy. But to me, that is on Matt Eberflus's watch. I said this a couple weeks ago. You cannot absolve blame when you are a defensive head coach in a pivotal moment situation like that, especially when you had a timeout to talk about what you wanted to do. And before the timeout, they get under center. They try to draw him off sides. If they had just snapped the ball there, they really weren't over the quarterback, and they would have had a better opportunity than what they ran after the timeout to go into shotgun. Anybody that's ever covered the game or called a game, college or pro, high school too. I've done high school coverage.
Don't say high school like that. I don't like the tone of how you said high school.
But I'm just saying anybody will tell you when it's a 4th and short, 3rd and short situation like that, you get under center. When you are in shotgun, you are adding more space for the defense to get a push. It's a common sense thing, and I guess common sense isn't so common for everyone.
Well, an offensive coach is going to say by getting in a shotgun, you're giving the defense more to worry about, and they're not going to fire off the ball as hard. Look, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I hate shotgun in those short yardage situations. But all right, let's focus in on that decision right there, the thinking behind it. The ball's at the 19, right?
Yep.
For Cairo Santos, essentially you're looking at an automatic field goal from the 19-yard line. That gives you a 31-28 lead with how much time's on the clock at that point?
2:30 roughly.
2:30. Your defense can't get a stop. To me, this is a gut situation, and you got to weigh heavily what's going on in the moment. I was a go for it. We all polled ourselves here. Bragg said kick it. Carm said go for it. I said go for it. So that part didn't bother me. Literally everything else bothered me about how they handled it. Okay? So, first thing, if you're going to go out there and try a high school hard count, which almost worked earlier in the game, but you actually false started. Let's not forget that context. They false started.
Yep.
The last time they tried to hard count the other team, the Bears false started.
And they were jumping early a lot. Borum got called for it late, but it was happening often. Keep going.
So that's on the table that you're going to back yourselves up 5 yards and make the field goal harder. All right? Let's say you go up there hard count, then run a play. That's probably what a better coach team would do. The only reason to call a timeout there
Is to kick the field goal.
Right. Or to drastically change your personnel because you feel like you don't have the right personnel on the field.
I literally thought they were going to run another hard count and call another timeout on the second time.
I'll have to look at it again. But
that would have been better.
Wasn't the formation basically the same when they came out of the timeout?
No, they were.
Yes, except that Justin didn't run up to the line of scrimmage.
Yes. So why you don't have that play you ended up running already on when you're doing the hard count and the hard count doesn't work, that's what blows my mind the most. That you burned a timeout to run another offensive play. And again, the only reason to waste a timeout that there was a good chance you were going to need if you didn't get the first down there is to kick the field goal. Like you can live with 2 timeouts if you're up 3. But you give them the ball back and now you only have 2 timeouts. Your defense can't stop anyone. That's just horrible process. So I'm not even talking about the play calls at this point. I'm just talking about the processes that the head coach is involved in that moment.
Well, and just a reminder, you are talking about a first-time head coach with a first-time offensive coordinator. But let's just focus on the head coach. Matt Eberflus has never been head coach before.
Okay, but they're in their second year now.
I understand.
They were run through this scenario like 12 times last year.
Right. But this is the first time in this particular scenario for him, and he miserably failed at it.
Oh man, the excuse train.
I'm not giving him any excuses. I'm just giving facts.
I'm talking about here, this isn't, you're in the NFL, man. This is basic shit.
I got it. I'm not. There's no excuse. I'm talking about up the food chain of who you hired. That's what they did. You hired somebody who doesn't know what he's doing, and this is the first time he's ever been in this position. And
again, you go for it. You don't get it. Man, that sucks. I would probably be sitting here defending Flus, honestly. But the way that whole thing was.
Well,
fucked.
Yeah, and
what?
Yeah, I mean, you guys were of the mindset to go for it. I said to kick it, so I do strongly disagree. I mean, they did prove they got to stop right after that and held them to a field goal. But regardless of the results, to me, when you break down the moment, if you don't get it, which is what happened, they then have an opportunity to run the clock completely out and just kick a field goal to win it. Whereas if you make the easy field goal, if they miss the field goal, then I don't blame you. If you make the easy field goal, now it's a touchdown to win it, period. And they don't get to play the clock as their friend as much. So, as much as the defense was worrying us at that time, to me, the obvious move there was to give the Bears the lead. They had been holding on for dear life from 28-7. Give them a lead, give them an opportunity to let the crowd get loud and get behind them and try to walk away with a W. The other aspect of it that I don't agree with going for it, again, all year long, they have proven they are terrible in these 4th and short situations. So you want to say, okay, this time we're going to show you. I'm sorry, you didn't earn that right in that moment to do that. You got to then play it safe because you haven't earned the right in that short yardage situation.
And to defend Braggs on kicking the field goal, this seems like one of those analytics versus, just football things. So you'd assume, like, sometimes the analytics would say, yeah, you go for it there. No, the analytics actually say kick the field goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's to your point. It's not. The decision is a tough one, but it's your process around the decision that ultimately matters the most. Like how give yourself the best chance to get a first down if you are going for it, and or if you're not ready to do it, which to Braggs' point, they have not proven in any way, shape, or form that they have been, then just kick the field goal. And by the way, the evidence earlier in the game, even though they got the first down, you lined Cole Kmet up on 4th and 1 before, and you watched how that went and saw all the linebackers crashing down and getting stopped, and you decided after seeing that when you get in that situation again, that's what you want to do again? Now, they got it this time, but that is like, fool me once, it's on me, fool me twice, then whatever that saying is. I mean, what do you do? How do you go back to that? But they went back to it. And, well, at least they didn't go back to it there, but they went to the shotgun formation in Herbert. I mean, man,
well, why
that
not
is
put
rough.
Kmet under center and flip it to Fields? Like, that's in the playbook. We've seen it. They ran it last year.
I just look. You have an elite quarterback who can run the football. Let him get under center and figure it out. I trust him to get a yard. I trust him to do that more than I trust myself to be able to go to the bathroom. I mean, come on.
Here's a short list of things the Bears that could have done there that would have been better than what they did. The Philly sneak that they did twice last week successfully. It is pretty much the hardest thing to stop. You could have Cole Kmet sneak it. That worked earlier in the game. You could have Kmet.
I liked your idea of show that Cole Kmet sneak and then pitch it like they did last year.
Which I just said 10 seconds ago and was
sorry.
about to say again. Kmet pitch to Fields. Or just have Fields run it.
I'm blacked out with rage.
Or you saw me pointing at the screen before the play. The slant to DJ Moore, or was it Moore, whoever was in the slot was wide open. So do you trust your quarterback enough to throw it there if there's a wide open route? Because that former quarterback up north, we all know what he would have done right there. He would have thrown a slant to the wide open wide receiver.
Can I just quickly break in here? We have over 4,300 people watching right now. Would you please hit that little thumbs up like Bagman is asking? Please give us a like. Thank you very much.
And if you're new here, please hit subscribe. We're here basically every day. We're Monday through Friday at noon. We do this show and then pre- and post-game on game day. And most of our post-games are filled with rage and sadness.
And we're
Just to
here.
warn you.
We're here for any breaking news, like if the Bears make any coaching changes now or in the future,
yeah.
and or trades like perhaps.
We are not afraid of an emergency pod.
We are not. If trades like perhaps one that they
you,
might make
people.
tomorrow
Thank
with Chase Claypool, who was inactive today. So that was at least rumored
And also,
before
thank
the
you
game.
for all the super chats, everyone. There's a lot of, wow, we just have a random Bears fan walking up from behind the set. Oh, he's blowing up sad balloons, apparently. I don't know. Okay.
Is there helium
Did
in
Jake
this?
Flanagan just walk up?
No one has ever gone to the basement here, and Flanagan had to go down there to get some peace after the game. God bless this man. And he just
not
he
helium.
just came back with a Bears balloon, which I don't know. I'll just tie it on here. I mean,
Well, it's not. There's not helium. It's not going.
I got it.
It's about as good as that
This
balloon
is not
I
a
put over
balloon
there.
party. Can I see that balloon?
You want to pop the balloon?
There's
Okay.
no helium in it. It's not our offensive coordinator's head.
There we go.
This is not a party today.
Not a party.
That's the saddest.
Oh, God. I mean, a little tricky here, but I do want to just have a moment of
Silence?
no. Well, no. I just
For the
hey
Bears
man,
season?
that was the best game that the quarterbacks played. I get that it was against the Broncos, but he took a major step forward today.
Well, let's take a moment to honor who's our DraftKings king of the game, and as much as it hurts at the end. And I want to talk about the end because I think it needs to be talked about. But 28 of 35. He started 23 of 24. The only incompletion at that point was a Hail Mary at halftime. 335. He goes over 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. There was so much good in this game. There was good play calling. There was good play design. There was Justin when I always talk about that swagger, you could just tell the confidence kicked in. And then, unfortunately, you made a comment, Carm, don't get shaky now. And I think that was when it was still 28-14.
You could see as the game wore on that he was looking a little more jittery because this is a whole thing. People don't like to, when the Cubs had it won for 8,000 years, curse is not real. No, the curse isn't real, but the weight of not winning is real on a franchise. There is more pressure on you, and there is more pressure on Justin and the Bears because they're in a now 14-game losing streak, and they haven't had success. He can't calmly just be in the fourth quarter. No problem. I've done this a zillion times. He hasn't done it a zillion times. He hasn't done it ever in the NFL. Lead a comeback in the fourth quarter to victory. He's had great moments, the Steeler game, yada, yada, which they ended up losing. He played great. But when you haven't done it, the pressure does become greater and greater, and you could see it on them, which was another reason, by the way, which is why I wanted them to go for it, Braggs, because you had to get in there, because if you got the field goal, I thought Denver was at least going to get a field goal, which they did, and then you go into OT. I didn't like that scenario. You had to. I didn't.
Yeah, you and I were talking about.
I was like, OT feels terrible. Win it now, and they just did not get the support that they needed in the moment with the play call. But it should never have gotten. They should never have been in that position. Period. They really. I still go back to the end of the first half. What are you doing? There is literally a half of football to play, and you guys are sitting on it like the game's like you're up by 40.
How about the first drive of the game? You punted from your 49-yard line.
Right. That was right.
How does that jive with then going for it at the end?
Right. Correct.
Counterpoint, maybe they realize they don't know how to get fourth and short.
Yeah, right. Right. Well,
stick to that.
Yeah, I guess so.
The inconsistency there is mind-boggling. Let's talk about the two Justin Fields turnovers. You have to hold on to the ball. Okay, I get that. Go back. Braggs alluded to this earlier. It's called blitzing the boot. And teams started doing this on the Bears last year because the Bears were doing these bootlegs with Fields, and it was working and working. So teams will basically have the backside and whoever just go play the quarterback, even if it's a run. So even if they end up handing the ball off to the running back, you go get the quarterback on the boot just in case he still has it, which a lot of times he does. As this game went along, you saw the Broncos start to do that more and more. The last play before the fumble, that they ran that concept, the Bears ran that concept. The Broncos blitzed the boot, and Fields, because he's Justin damn Fields and can do things like this, bailed his coach out and got out of it and completed a pass. It was one of his better plays of the game. But as a coach, you should see that and say, probably shouldn't call that anymore. It's covered. Thanks, my player just bailed me out. Okay?
Right.
Instead, he calls it again. And this time, that player, I don't even know if it's the same player, I have to go back and watch the tape, but was more aggressive than he was the last time, probably because he knew he screwed up and didn't tackle him the first time, and instead forces a fumble. I mean, I don't know what else to call that other than bad coaching. I don't understand it. I do not understand it. You adjust. Every coach is going to make bad decisions throughout the game. Friday night, we kicked the St. Vitus' best player. He returned it for a touchdown. You think we kicked to him again the rest of the game? That was a mistake on my part, and we fixed it.
Right.
We won the damn game. Like, I don't understand how you could do that again. I just really don't. So, yes, your quarterback has to hold on to the ball, but I don't blame that. I do not blame that fumble on Justin. He turned around, and there was somebody basically in his grill already. And Matt Ryan was saying it on the broadcast. Stop having Justin Fields have his back to defenders. It's stupid. It's going to lead to disaster eventually. And it did. Now, the last interception, I don't know what's coming out of the locker room yet. We'll talk to Nick later in the game. Clearly, Justin Fields and Cole Kmet were not on the same page of which shoulder that ball was supposed to go to, and it went to the wrong one, as happens way too many damn times when you're covering the Bears in the fourth quarter of games. It's always a quarterback throwing a damn interception.
Well, and also he had the intentional grounding. That was a big part that led to that moment. And that's what's so disappointing is, again, you can't excuse these things. You can understand how you got there process-wise and the coaching not putting the player in a great spot. But at the same time, if you're Justin Fields, you have to understand the moment. And when the boot happens and the guy is all over you, you got to eat it. You got to take that sack. He's a competitor. I get it. So he tried to make a play, turns into a fumble going the other way. Same thing with the intentional grounding. You got to eat it. It sucks. The play didn't work, but you cannot compound the problem by intentional grounding, loss of down. Now you're in a 3rd and long situation or whatever the down and distance was when they throw the pick. And those are as great as his game was. There's 3 mistakes at the end that are part of the reason they lose the game. I'm saying fire the coaches because I saw enough from Fields from a talent perspective that if they had a coaching process here that had a little more continuity and discipline and attention to detail, maybe these things wouldn't happen. Waiting 4 weeks to put Chase Claypool in the inactive. To me, this is a whole process-based situation that's fallen apart, and it bleeds into the players making mistakes. And Justin's not absolved of those. He made those mistakes, and now he has to wear them too.
Some of the stuff coming out of the locker room, of course, we'll have Nick on there, but one comment from Cole Kmet in here was on the 4th and 1 going for it. We know coach is going to do that 10 out of 10 times. So that was from Cole. To Jason Leisure.
Yeah, Jason Leisure tweeted that from the locker room. He also added he should do that never out of 10 times. That was Jason's comment, not Cole saying that.
Yeah. But the thing is that he doesn't do it 10 out of 10 times. He didn't do it at midfield.
No, he didn't.
I mean,
Well, this is somebody in the chat just says, Braggs, how about somebody else step up and it's not just all on Fields to make a play? I agree. And that's why the coaches are in a bad spot here because Khalil Herbert was that guy that was helping Justin out in the 4th quarter. I've been a big Roschon Johnson guy. Khalil Herbert put all that to bed today. He's your running back 1. He showed that. Give him the goddamn football.
Khalil was phenomenal today. And
yeah, but there were too many pre-snap penalties. Larry Borum's false starting. The cadence thing still seems like it's been going on all season. They're not on the same page. I don't know if that's at this point just Lucas Patrick's center. I don't know. But it's not getting better.
There was one point today where it was definitely Lucas Patrick's fault because you had both tackles jump.
Yeah.
That's got to be on the center.
Well,
or they're just completely lost on everything that's going on out there.
Too many penalties in the 4th quarter. They just snap back into
football teams do.
Yeah. I mean, and then the worst part is the Broncos didn't even cover.
Hey, I told you over 24.5 team total. That one cashed.
I mean, I don't want to boast about something as terrible as this, but I had Denver 27, Bears 25. I said in my one-paragraph prediction that the Bears would have a lead in the 4th quarter, that they would get close, like Eberflus said, and that it would go Denver's way. I did not think they were going to blow a 28-7 lead to make that prediction correct. Nor do I think my prediction. That is historic.
From Sean Hammond, he tweeted, Cole Kmet said that he and Justin Fields had a miscommunication on the interception. Kmet ran one route, and Fields thought he was going somewhere else.
There it is. That's what it looked like. And that's the class, by the way, of Cole Kmet. Just will fall on the sword.
Cole didn't say he ran the wrong route. He said he ran one route, and Fields thought he was going somewhere else.
Fair enough.
So it's about who was correct and
right. I'm just saying I don't think that clarifies who was in the wrong. But he did say that in a way where he's not throwing his quarterback under the bus.
And you know what? I mean, this goes back to something, Dan Weeder, we don't always see eye to eye on different takes, but he has said from all of last year that this team has to learn to win at some point. This is something you've brought up a million times.
And I'm sorry to interrupt you, but to that point, Sean just tweeted again, Sean Hammond, Justin Fields looked stunned in the locker room. Still had his uniform on about 30 minutes after the end of the game. Most of his teammates were gone. Fields was sitting in his locker just staring off.
And that's my
This is the stuff we talk about breaking quarterbacks in this
right,
town.
because while I felt like, losing out and getting that number 1 pick helped this organization, I think that did prove itself. At the same token, this learning to win, rhetoric is proving itself out right now. They now have better players on this roster. They have coaches that have a year of experience, but it's not good experience. It's experience not handling the fourth quarter well. And Justin Fields, he's got experience with Luke Getsy, but again, it's experience losing games. So now you get into this year with a better roster and a year of being with each other, but the results are still the same. And it to me, it's just continuing to compound itself.
Well, and just talking about the roster and where they spent money. We can do that another time, but I just want to.
Can I bring up Nick's tweet here?
Yeah, please do. I just want to say that Tremaine Edmonds is didn't make sense for this team. Go ahead.
That was a big point to make out of nowhere.
Yeah, well,
by the way, I just want to quickly say the highest paid free agent of the offseason. That was bad.
You got 8,000 problems up front. It didn't make sense. It didn't line up to what they did with Roquan. It bothers me. Go ahead.
Yeah, I do think that's a discussion for
another time
in the week, but it's not a bad point. Nicholas Moreano from the locker room, our guy, just spoke to Darnell Wright. I asked him about the decision to go for it on 4th down. Wright said, quote, "The 4th down was probably on me. I had a critical error on a block. We had it. Put us in a good situation, just have to execute." Nick then followed up, what was the critical error? He said, I was blocking and I came off late on the linebacker. I believe Tiki Barber was calling this game for CBS and made the same point.
He did.
He said that it looked like Wright was supposed to climb to the linebacker and just didn't get there. So,
right, so you're asking a very talented guy, but you're asking a rookie to do something that's perhaps a drop out of his comfort zone. Fair to say?
I want to puke by the first tweet that just showed up on the CHGO Bears account.
Which was what?
Matt Eberflus. There were a lot of good moments in there.
That's what he's going to do. He's going to flus.
He's gonna
flus. He knows no other way. Did you hear his press conference on Friday? I'm assuming not, because I tried to ask him, how are you handling this? You've lost 13 games in a row. It cannot be easy for you. Like trying to get some level of human side. It's just about the next game. Like he doesn't. I'm sure there's a regular guy in there somewhere, but he's a coach, and he just coach that answer. We had a lot of good things in there. That's what he's going to do. He's going to move it forward.
They did today at least. Last week was insulting. Oh yeah, we're close. Like, no, you're not.
Right?
But today I at least understand. Like, yes, there were some good things. It's just read the room, man. You've lost 14 games in a row. You just had the worst comeback, tied for the worst comeback that you've allowed in your franchise's history. And you're the Chicago Bears. You've been around forever.
Right.
Stop setting franchise records for a bad, long, old-ass franchise.
I'll say this much, too. Adam Johns is reporting Bears wide receiver Chase Claypool had a locker room set up for him at Soldier Field. His sideline attire was still on its hangers after the game. It looked untouched. If the coaches didn't tell him to stay home and he chose to stay home, he should be cut tomorrow.
I agree with that. And I don't know why inactives are supposed to be at the stadium. They're always there. I saw Courtney tweet at one point during the game, too, that she did not see Chase Claypool on the sideline. John's not following up. It looks like the attire that they hang from. Basically, it looks like Claypool wasn't there. So
Sammy Sosa no-showed. Actually, Sosa did come, and then he left. All right. That's so.
That is.
Literally begging anybody. Will you please give me a 6th-round pick for one of the worst trades hopefully the worst trade I'll ever make in my life. Please. If not, I got to cut him by, I don't know, noon. He's never coming. If that really happened, which it sounds like it did, he ain't ever showing back up. He's not.
It's also confirmation.
He's not coming back.
It's also basically confirmation of what I reported pregame, which was this was because of what he said Friday. If he knew he was going to be inactive all week and not show up to the game, he doesn't talk Friday.
Right. Well, I don't know Claypool's strategies. It's hard to know.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
I mean, you're not there for your teammates. At the end of the day, you may not agree with what the coaches are doing for you. You said as much to Courtney Cronin and Mark Carman and everyone in the reporter pool on Friday. But your teammates, you're supposed to be there for them. And for him to not show up means you should be cut tomorrow. And if this organization has any pride, they will do that. And for the players that left Justin sitting there for 30 minutes, I get we all got families to go to and stuff like that. Not a great look either.
Well, here's Caitlin Sharkey's tweeting on this too. Chase Claypool was not at Soldier Field today. It sounds like Flus has confirmed this now. Quote, we told him it was a choice and he's at home. What does that mean? It's not a choice. You're on the team. Come to the game. Or they're giving him a choice, like you're either on the team or you're not, and he chose not to. I don't understand that.
We told him it was a choice and he's at home. So so hey, you're going to be inactive. You can come or you don't have to come. Matt. You're not going to be.
You don't have a backbone, Matt Eberflus. If you're telling players, if you want to come, great. If not, you don't give him that choice.
He just doesn't. He does not know how to handle guys.
This is your job. You show up to work.
It's just obvious. Look. Hey, dude, we didn't like what you said. We're making you inactive. We expect you to be at Soldier Field and support your teammates as best you can. If you can't do that, then if you don't, if you can't do that, then you're not going to play football for us ever again. And by the way, I don't know if you're ever going to play football for us ever again. Also, another thing.
I don't understand that.
I mean, that's not.
Okay, I'm sorry to keep interrupting you. These tweets are flying in, and they're Jason Leisure now tweeting. Bears. Here, I'll give it to Nick. I'll read both of these. Nick first because it just popped up. Matt Eberflus said it was Chase Claypool's choice to not be at the game today. Eberflus also mentioned he does expect Claypool to be back tomorrow. Jason Leisure, Bears coach Matt Eberflus said they told Chase Claypool it was up to him to come to the game today or not, and he chose not to. Eberflus says he's still part of the team and expects him in the building Monday.
This guy.
What in the hell?
You let Chase Claypool back in that locker room after he didn't come on the sidelines. Maybe not everyone in that locker room, but there will be some players that have no respect for that. You will lose the locker room.
I think it's already happened.
Yeah, it probably has already happened.
What? Yeah, we're not playing you Sunday. You don't have to come if you don't want to, but yeah, could you please be back in the building Monday? This isn't an injury situation, dude. You're either on the team or you're not.
I only drink cockies with CHGO. We all need a cocky on that one. I mean, my God.
I mean,
dude,
somebody in the chat says, who cares about Claypool? We should have kicked a field goal. Surf and Coop, this is part of the problem is the culture. That's just as important as everything that's going on in the game. This is why they've lost 14 in a row. This is why they've come out to such an embarrassing start. All of these little details are a part of the culture. Chase Claypool not putting enough effort in week 1 blocking. They have a team meeting about it. Week 2, he's not paying attention to the details of blocking, gets a crucial penalty that causes you to lose the game in Tampa. So those are things that are a trickle-down effect that result in wins and losses. At some point, they should have made Chase Claypool inactive. Instead, they didn't. Now today they do. It's a shit show, man. Have some backbone, Matt Eberflus.
The Duke.
$199.99. The Duke is warming up. Go ahead, Hoge.
He said, the Duke, our guy, he said, I'll save you some time, Nick. Nick doesn't need to see Eberflus speak. Quote, we're close. We got to execute better. I like the look in their eyes. End quote. You mean the Vietnam vet 1,000-yard stare? If I were Poles, I'd take the podium because Flus has to go clean out his office. Honestly, here's what's...
Thanks, Duke.
I have 8,000 follow-up questions for Matt Eberflus about giving a player the choice to not come to the game. But what concerns me perhaps the most is that I would think Poles would be involved in that decision too. We know he's involved in the inactives.
Yeah. To me, that's if I'm Ryan Poles, I'm allowing my head coach to run his locker room and make his decisions. Now, I would like to have I would be asking him a question. Wait, what are you doing with him? You're letting him stay home? Let me hear your rationale on that.
I think I just gave Casey a permanent meme to use for the entire season right there.
Which was
we should just go to something else because I honestly don't know.
Do you remember when we beat the 49ers and the QB slide shirt and they were 1-0 in the Flus era? Remember that?
That was fun.
Yeah, that was the peak of the
the era. It was
right
the peak.
there.
It literally was the peak. I mean, maybe the Patriots game to get to 3-4 might have been the arguable peak, but they were 1-0.
No, it was the win over the really good 49ers. You were 7.5-point underdogs. Monsoon at Soldier Field.
At the time,
great vibes. QB1.
Yep, and there was a random podcaster in San Francisco whose name I forget right now, but he lost his mind. The Niners lost that game.
Oh, I remember that.
He was just screaming about, "You lost to Matt Eberflus." And I was like, "Hey, you show the Flus some respect. His name is Matt Eberflus. You will learn his name." But that guy was he was ahead of the curve there with Eberflus. Oh, boy.
Super chat on the screen. Is that Ribs? What if there was a family issue with Claypool we are not aware of?
Okay, if there was.
They would have said personal reasons. Just like Nate Davis missed 2 weeks ago because of personal reasons and was inactive last week because of personal. No, he was active but didn't play due to personal reasons.
Ribs, I need you in my life just to make excuses for me when I don't have anything going my way. The reason why Carm forgot to do XYZ, Ribs, you got me. There's no bereavement, 99.9999999. He wasn't there because he was made inactive and he didn't like it, and he probably felt like this is what I'll tell you what Chase Claypool's going to say. I wasn't going to be of help to my teammates because I was in such a bad place not being active that I wasn't going to be able to help them. That's what he would. That's what he'll say.
This nonsense we gave. See, this is here's how I'm interpreting this. Admittedly, not in the press conference right now, but there's now basically every reporter. This is on our own account too at CHGO Bears. We told him that it was a choice. Was it really a choice, or was this like there's a punishment if you don't come? Because we expect him to be back in the building Monday. Seems like it was really a choice. Like, hey, you don't have to come.
How about just
if you don't, we'll see you on Monday at practice.
It's also just like not understanding your locker room. Imagine if you're Justin Fields on Monday morning and you walk in, the first guy you see, there's Chase Claypool. What's up, dude?
Yeah, but the or is when he says it's choice, he's really just really struggling to be like, yeah, he chose not to come to the game, and that's unacceptable. Which I feel like 31 other coaches in the league would have been like, yeah, he decided not to come to the game, and there will be consequences for that.
Twitter poll, or rather, show poll right now. What do you think Chase Claypool did during the Bears game today? Did he go to the movies? Did he watch the game? Was he? I don't know. He loves fashion. Maybe he was.
Should have come to our tailgate.
I mean.
Well, the one thing that I think he could have been doing that might have been the only good decision he's made all day is having a good old Goose Island, because Goose Island is the official beer of CHGO. Goose Island is the presenting sponsor here at the CHGO Sports Podcast. CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer since 1988. Oktoberfest, Beer Hug family, like you said, Hoge. If he had come to our tailgate, so he was readily available.
I had a beer hug earlier. I need more. I need just a hug.
Beer hugs were all you can drink if you come to the tailgates. 312 wheat ale, full pocket pills. We bring it all at the tailgate. You can also get it if you hit up their tap room and brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Grab an ultra fresh brewery exclusive beer at Goose Island. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer.
I mean, April from Idaho came all the way to our tailgate, made these koozies. I only drink cockies with CHGO. Die-hard Bears fan, my era. Grew up with Walter Payton, and Jim McMahon was her favorite player. Was so excited to go to the game today. Had premium tickets, and that's how you repaid April from Idaho.
She was probably having the time of her life for 3 quarters.
She was loving it to the moon.
Man. Hey, by the way,
Bear down, Omaha. We don't need a Goose Island for this. We need a Goose Continent.
Yeah, we could go for that.
A lot of beer.
By the way, I'm all for the goose, and you know what goes well with it? Bacon. Charlie the Bacon Guy, based out of Woodridge. He makes craft bacon. Did you know that was a thing? Craft bacon? Why can't it be? Anything can be craft. Craft bacon and bacon jams in over 30 different flavors. I'm getting hungry just talking about this. Always all natural. No fancy preservatives. Order lots of bacon. It's vacuum sealed. It freezes great, so you don't have to worry. They package perfectly for you. Bacon lasts in the package up to 45 days in the fridge and 6 months in the freezer. Bacon jam, that'll last about 60 days in the fridge. About 20 seconds, though, if you start eating it. Then it just disappears on you. And up to 6 months in the freezer. How about some of these flavors? Maple pepper, French toast, chorizo, jardiniere bacon. Bacon jam goes perfectly on anything. And scrambled eggs, toast, crackers, burgers, grilled cheese. Right there on the spoon. He will deliver it to you. Charlie will deliver it to you, meet you halfway, or even ship it. He will get you the bacon on time. You can follow him on Instagram at Charlie the Bacon Guy, on Twitter at CZ the Bacon Guy, or you can email charliethebaconguy@gmail.com. They got a website coming soon.
CharlieTheBaconGuy@gmail.com for all your bacon. I mean, is there a more wholesome guy than that? I mean, seriously.
I mean, I like having like guys for things. You know, you got like your floor guy, your HVAC guy.
You got Ray at Ray Chevy for your cars.
Ray is my car guy.
Yeah, there we go.
100%. Now you got a bacon guy.
Now you got a bacon
and
guy.
Now everybody watching the show does too. Again, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. We really appreciate you being here. A lot to get to on the show.
I'd like to personally apologize from the Bears to Nate, who was at our tailgate today and didn't put ketchup on his hot dog, to Connie from Palm Springs, to Anthony, to Will from St. Louis, to John from Denver, not John Denver. R.I.P.
I could go for some John Denver right now.
Our Ireland brothers who are staying at the Knickerbocker.
Barry and Jerry.
Yep. James in Villa Park. Spencer, even you, who's a Broncos fan but had a QB1 T-shirt on, the mayor of ALLCITY, who I said hello to today at the tailgate, who all were going to the game today. Even Papa Hoge, who didn't go to the game and took a 5:30 train to come on down. The effort was strong, team.
Guys, there's a lot to
yeah, keep going.
Try to add up here. So Fields is now at the podium, and according to tweets, he says he still wants Chase Claypool on the team. According to Chris Emma, of course, he's a weapon. He's passionate. He just has to work on his display of his emotions. Fields says you can't control that he was here or not. Fields says the coaches let him know that Claypool would be inactive on Saturday. That from Sean Hammond. So I'm going to interject here because Flus also, according to another tweet I saw in a timeline, said that it had nothing to do with what he said Friday. Yeah. I'm telling you it did. Okay, I'm telling you. Now, it's one thing to find out who the inactives would be on Saturday because that might be when the decisions are made official. But your quarterback doesn't find out that the number 2, number 3, however you want to split it, wide receiver isn't going to play 24 hours before the game if it was planned all week. Does that make sense what I just said?
Yes, and it's not putting him in.
If they had made the decision that Claypool was going to be inactive, unless it had something to do with like how he practiced Friday, right? Mm-hmm. Or like something crazy has to happen for your quarterback not to know that one of his main weapons is not going to play in the game Sunday. And guess what? It happened Friday. So come on. This is what's... And it's just, come on. I don't know how many times I've said that this week, but that's what these press conferences have become.
Well, look, to gain the respect of your players, you have to have a certain skill set. You've got to prove that you have intelligence for the game, that you've got to have, for lack of a better word, a ton, I'll say guts, a ton of, some balls in the moment that will earn their respect, that they will want to run through a wall for, that you will protect them from, as best you can, from the scrutiny that comes with being a professional football player, and that you are able to speak truth to them, to coaches, to management, to the media in a way that is direct and treats people like men. These are professionals. This is not a high school football team. And Flus just comes up short in a lot of ways with this stuff.
I want to go back. This was a big point of our offseason discussion, which was that last year was kind of a weird year. They were tanking. They were trying to win. At the end, like, everybody knew they were rebuilding. They knew by the end of the year the defense was pretty depleted. We all kind of came out of last year, right, saying, we don't really know if Matt Eberflus can coach or not. It was like there weren't many big decisions. There were a few fourth down calls here and there, but it was just a weird way the year played out. Everyone knew the expectations. We didn't really seem to learn much about Matt Eberflus, the coach, other than, building that foundation that they were supposedly building. So we all said, myself included, that we would find out pretty quickly this season whether or not he's a good head coach. What would be the grade that you would give him through 4 games? I would say F.
The answer is F.
I would say F, and it's
you had all.
And today showed all of it, right? You had the in-game decision that was baffling. A couple of them, quite frankly. I actually thought he handled the end of halftime with the Hail Mary. Okay, I agree with you though that there wasn't enough urgency before that, but the end thing, you're either going for it or you're not going for it. The charade with the timeout, the play call, all of it. And he came out and said, love the play call. Thought we were running the ball well, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so you have that part of it. This handling of Chase Claypool that I am seeing right now on Twitter is an unbelievable fail. Your player doesn't get a choice. And if it's even a fake choice where it's like, okay, but if you don't, then it should be don't come back to work tomorrow. You don't get to walk back in the building tomorrow. And there's no such thing as a choice to come to the game or not. You're either on the team or you're not. This shows no accountability. It shows that players can take advantage of you. Complete fail across the board. I think it's embarrassing. How does Kevin Warren look at this? How does Kevin Warren look at this and say this is acceptable?
It's seriously like you're dealing with a high school kid. You can come or you can not come. You're in detention. No. This is the National Football League. This is his job. He's getting paid millions of dollars. You come to the game. You support your teammates.
But that's not a high school kid problem. There's adults that act like this too. And it is the boss's responsibility or the head coach's responsibility to hold your employee accountable. Now, everybody matures at a different level. Took me until I was probably 32 and I'm 38 now, and I probably still haven't met that mark. But at the end of the day, I had people in my life that held me accountable for my actions. Chase Claypool's a young dude. He's not, obviously he gets hot. Like Justin said, he's passionate, saying all those things. But at the end of the day, it's the coach's watch to hold the players accountable. It's the GM's watch to hold the coach accountable. It's the president's watch to hold all of them accountable. And when they're not doing that, that's when you start making some changes.
There's a video that's out there that they, during the broadcast they showed polls that was, he's just losing his mind, but right in front of him is a guy that's putting his head in front of his face.
It's Jeff King.
Jeff King, the pro scouting director, and he's mouthing something like he just cannot believe his lot in life. I mean, they are. I'm not even going to try to imagine the conversations that are going on around there tonight. But this is I mean, man, if you go back to the combine in Indianapolis when we had Ryan Poles on the show and he was just in a great mood and couldn't have handled himself any better, and it was super fun to talk to him and all that stuff. From that point in time, which was before they traded for DJ Moore, then they went out and made the trade, had what seemed like, at least at the time, a productive offseason, to all the excitement coming into the season. Literally everybody on the staff had them winning at bare minimum 7 games, myself included. Me and Lawrence were lows at 7, and it went up from there to where they're at right now, which, by the way, our staff mirrors the entire fan base. It is, for me, like, if we're looking at a global thing, it is nearly impossible to fathom how fast this whole thing has turned to where we're at right now.
It really is. It really is. I never would have seen this. Javen Terry here, this is Super Chat 1999. He says, I'd rather keep Justin with a new coaching staff than draft Caleb Williams with the same coaching staff.
That might be Super Chat of the show.
Of the year.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean,
see, I agree with you. Now, I think ultimately what would be most likely to happen is new coaching staff, new quarterback. And maybe for once they'll actually align it that way. But
that's part of the reason why it's incumbent on Ryan Poles to see the writing on the wall and get rid of these guys now, because if there's any part of you, if you're Ryan Poles, that's like Justin, if he feels strongly that Justin is his guy and it's the coaches that are a problem, while if you're Ryan Poles trying to dissect why this is happening.
Now, do you guys want the real silver lining of today?
I can't wait to hear it. Let's go.
There are only 2 winless teams left in the NFL.
It's right.
They are the Chicago Bears and the Carolina Panthers.
That's my point. And
the Bears have both picks.
Right, and that's my point. Because, I agree with you. At the end of the day, I think it'll be coaches, Justin all gone, simply because of just where Justin's at in his contract. But if you were to get rid of the coaches now and find something in Fields that actually develops into a quarterback you want to keep, simply even if it's in his 4th year, and give him a 5th-year option, you can use those first 2 picks, because everybody talks about quarterback and Marvin Harrison Jr. and all the bells and whistles and the glitz and glamour of those kind of players. But what does this Bears team need the most?
Up front.
Trenches.
Yes, desperate.
You're going to have the number 1 and number 2 pick, and you're going to have idiots like me saying, draft Caleb Williams, draft Marvin Harrison Jr. And what's the 2 things they're not addressing there? Left tackle, 3 technique, which is what they desperately need. So, I want to try to get to the root of the problem, and that means either firing people or benching people, and I don't really care, but I think today kind of showed the hand on what needs to happen first.
Okay, I'm spinning. But if we're going to Hoge silver lining,
that's a great movie, by the way.
Yeah.
The playbook.
Yeah, Hoge silver lining playbook.
Okay, yeah.
Look, losing horrendous games like this that you absolutely should have won, that 99.9% of NFL teams in NFL history would have won. Well, that does put you in a chance to go for tank 2. Because you absolutely should have you should have made the Broncos 0-4 today. They should be sitting there with the Carolina Panthers, but somehow, some way, you didn't.
But here's the problem with Tank 2.0. There's no way in hell you could lose the rest of the year and come to any type of podium and say we're keeping the head coach around.
Of course not. So you got a new and
like that's got to be an automatic. We're moving on to a different
of
coaching
course.
staff situation.
So you're gonna have a new coaching staff, completely new coaching staff, and if they really did go tank 2.0, that means the quarterback had a great game today, and then the rest of the year he played like.
I don't know. They can't beat the other worst team in the league when the quarterback has his best game.
We appreciate their collaboration.
Don't say that word.
At this rate, Justin Fields could be in the Pro Bowl and they might not win a game. They showed you today they can do it.
Well, okay. Well, then you can comfortably draft your 3 tech and your offensive lineman and not worry about Caleb Williams. Or you could more likely we could do trade back again because somebody wants to come up and get him. You can get 8,000 picks for Caleb Williams.
I'm gonna say this again. I really like Darnell Wright, but
that's how you do it. By the way,
he's saying he missed the block on the key play of the game, and again, you have 2 sacks the entire year, and Jalen Carter was sitting there.
Yeah.
And Darnell Wright also had a bad penalty earlier in the game too.
Also, that whole thing, like they love Darnell Wright, and I like Darnell Wright. I'm sure he's going to be a very good player. He's a right tackle. He's not even a left tackle. You got 7,000 needs. You got the best defensive player in the draft that fell to you. You're drafting a right tackle. I just didn't. It was not exciting in the moment, and not exciting now. But I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player all at the same time. The other thing is that Tank 2.0 is just very unlikely. Washington.
Well, I also don't think they need to do it because the Panthers are clearly bad.
Well,
so they have the luxury of being like,
Right.
You could still try to be winning here, knowing that the Panthers.
There's no trying to do it. They didn't try to do it last year. They're going to try to win games.
Well,
They did not try to do what they did today.
well, they did in Week 18. I mean,
That was
But
it.
overall-
Okay, that's it. That's it. One game.
No, you're right.
They weren't. This team's not. It's got nothing to do with trying. They're going to try.
Let's get some more super chats here. Theo, $10
Pound sterling.
pound sterling.
And he's been hitting us a few times. Thank you, Theo.
Thank you, Theo. Mike Tomlin was asked if there would be changes after a loss. He said, hell yeah, there's going to be changes. I can't imagine Eberflus saying that ever. The difference between a leader and a fraud.
Oof.
I agree, man. Sometimes things need to be said in a press conference. You're not throwing your players under the bus. You're saying the obvious.
That everybody knows. That your players
the players
want it.
know.
Yeah, the players expect to hear. And when you don't do it, you look like an idiot. Or you look like you're just afraid. Or whatever word you want to choose. It's a bad look.
You benched a player and gave him the choice to come to the game?
Can you imagine the conversation? I wish he would have benched me and give me a choice. I'd go apple picking with Bob Fesco. No one's going to get that reference. But
I mean, I got it. I know who Bob is. Is Bob like the apple pick?
he just, when the Chiefs were terrible, he had a complete meltdown that went viral. That he's like, I could have gone apple picking. I could have gone down to Leewood or Cedarwood or wherever it was. And he'd gotten cider. You embarrass yourself, you embarrass your family, you embarrass your dog.
To that point, next week the Bears don't play on Sunday, and my wife's already trying to plan some fall activity when I want to sit there and actually watch good football all day.
No,
Can we do that on a Bears Sunday instead?
I mean, can't you do it at 9 to noon?
You got to come down on next Sunday
You're
and
close
support
to the
Kevin
border.
Kaduk.
There's actually places close to you that
No,
you can get your cider.
we're gonna be up in the Dells apparently on Saturday. I'm so thrilled about it.
All right, I'm finding Kaduk on the Chicago Marathon next Sunday.
Duke alert.
$49.99 from the Duke. I had a Packers friend make a bet with me at half. He said, I bet Broncos come back to win, and the game ends with a Fields interception on the last drive. Swear to God, I'm out $500. What kind of crap product is this when you can predict that? I actually, Duke, I hate to say this out loud, but I'm going to say it out loud because we're about truth on this show, damn it. I thought about just looking at what's the
Broncos money line when it was 28-7?
Yes, what's the money line?
I don't know, what was that?
Yeah, I thought about
The
it.
Panthers won. We told you about that.
I actually had an issue with my DraftKings account. I was trying to get the Vikings at plus 140 when they were down 10-0.
Come on.
I know.
All right. Quentin Helms, 1999. Man, I don't care if Wright missed an assignment. You don't take the ball out of Justin's hands on that play. How that was the best play call they could come up with when Justin has been balling all day. Blows my mind.
And I don't ever tell a coach to coach for their job, so this is not a great point, but I'm just going to make it. I'm just going to say it anyway. If you're Matt Eberflus and you are, at least in theory, hanging by a thread, you got to know that if you go for it there on fourth down and they don't get it, you are getting fired. Versus self-preservation in the moment, safest thing to do here is kick the field goal, and at least that takes you a little bit out of harm's way. And he just, so maybe to his credit, he went for it, I guess.
Well, there's no question kicking the field goal there is the safer of the two moves. Like there'll be some discussion either way, but again, I keep going back to Bears fans are smarter than they sometimes get credit for. They know that whole charade with the hard count and then wasting the time out and then coming back out and basically running the same thing was ridiculous. Like, that was the last thing you could have done there. I think Flus is getting questioned for that, even if they get the first down. I think we would have been on here being like, well, why did they have to call timeout to bring the offense back out? Like, we would have been like, yeah, great, they won the game, but we still would have been like, that was kind of weird, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm thinking about him on the sideline afterwards, where he's fixing his hair 1,000 times. Here's from Adam John's update. A Bears team spokesman is now clarifying that the team asked wide receiver Chase Claypool to stay home from the game today. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Now, what is that?
So
how is that possible? The head coach just went up there and told you that he was given a choice. Now you're this is bad. Are we on?
How many damage controls have they been through in 3 weeks?
I mean, how are we on the same page? Clearly, we're not.
So that is different, and that would have been an opportunity for Flus to show some strength and accountability. We didn't like what Chase Claypool said Friday. We made him inactive. We told him to stay away from the stadium today. We expect him to be back at work tomorrow with a different attitude.
Done. Protects the player. Makes you look like you're in control. That'd have been all right.
How in the world can you think that? Well, we gave him a choice is a better thing to say.
He doesn't know how to handle it.
Oh my goodness.
So that's the other thing. Look, we've had a ton of distractions around here. If you've been paying attention, Justin talked at a press conference, and then after practice, he came back out and addressed the media again. We talked about that in the locker room, that we are not going to say things in the media that makes anybody in here look bad. That is over. It was a directive. And Chase, to his fault, did that on Friday. So he is not going to play on Sunday, and we told him to stay home.
Someone just had a great point.
That's all you got to do.
In the chat, why was his locker full of clothes then?
Because
that was just
because that wasn't communicated.
Yeah, maybe that was just a miscommunication in the equipment staff. But I didn't know that he wasn't going to be there. But still, that's still kind of a great point.
But let's underline this. Kevin Warren, your president, has come into the building and interviewed supposedly everyone who works at Hallis Hall about every single topic that you could possibly cover in an organization. There's no way that a guy that does that can support this. So there.
And by the way, with this group, I mean, is there any chance that the update to the update is actually them just trying to save face? That he still did have a choice? I mean, I don't know what to believe anymore.
It's just so illogical.
Maybe they realize how ridiculous it looked, and I don't know.
I mean, Kevin's has a job right now to put, as on the old stern big boy pants, if you will, and figure out what's going on with his organization, from the GM to the coach to the whole thing, and how they're moving forward, and how they are continually putting themselves in the laughingstock category. It's embarrassing. You do not. I mean, people are. You're just opening yourself up to shots from the local media, the national media. Your fans are miserable. Your players are miserable. Yeah, I mean,
and I'm
it's
sick
horrible.
of talking about Chase Claypool.
Literally anybody else, but I mean, we hammered the game. No,
I mean, honestly, at some point, maybe it's not. Maybe it's something that's saved for the last segment, but. We have talked about the game. The one thing I would like to talk about at some point, so feel free to tell me whenever that will be, is the change, whatever changes they did make with Justin Fields today. Because I'm not an Eberflus guy. I don't want to start with the positives, but I am curious from your perspective, Adam and Carm, what was the difference that all of a sudden the light turned on? Is it simply that Denver is terrible? Because to me, I thought they had a good pocket for Justin for most of the game. He was standing back there for 8 seconds sometimes. Even on that one, he only had one scramble the whole game. Up until that 18-yard run, he had only had 2 yards on the ground the entire game. Everything was through the air. He was showing patience, even on, when he's scrambling outside the pocket in the red zone, waiting for the defense to come in, boop, right to Cole Kmet. I mean, at some point I would like to talk about this because it felt like the light did come on for Justin Fields today. And as much as I'm railing Luke Getsy, he does get credit in this regard too. Whatever they adjusted today worked until the end. And that is the one thing I do want to try to figure out why that happened.
Well, one of the things, and Hoge, take it from here, they unlocked the tight end. Robert Tonyan hadn't had a catch all season long. He had a couple today. Cole Kmet had his best game as a Chicago Bear.
Mercedes Lewis got a catch.
Mercedes Lewis had a catch. So they simplified some things. I thought their balance was a whole lot better. They used the run attack. They did more design runs. They found DJ Moore. They did all the logical things that you would expect to do from Luke Getsy, which is another point, Braggs, that you're bringing up. I appreciate you bringing this up. The coaching staff should be able to be celebrating tonight. Instead,
but here's the problem, guys.
You can't.
It's a 4-quarter game.
Right.
So to answer your question, Greg, here's what I saw, okay? And I'm definitely not an offensive genius by any means. But I saw more play action in the first half. I saw more bootlegs. I saw more moving pockets, things that have been proven to help Justin Fields. But as we talked about earlier, the Broncos adjusted. They took away those boots. That's what caused the fumble. And they did it, as I said earlier in the show, the one before the fumble, they took it away, and Fields just made an outstanding play with his legs. And so I can't throw flowers at Luke Getsy's feet here because it's a 4-quarter game, and they adjusted to you, and you didn't adjust back. So, and again, it's almost like what we're talking about with the hits principle. Going back to this stuff that works is just football 101. We've been screaming at it for weeks. So just because they did it, I'm still struggling to give them too much credit for it.
How long it took them to get to this point.
And it honestly makes me feel yes, it was because they were playing the Broncos' bad defense that allowed them to do it. But even then, they were able to adjust by the 4th quarter and flip the script. Dominic.
Yeah, he actually has 2 in a row here. Hit this one first.
Okay, Super Chat, $10 from Dominic. Clear difference in play call and aggression from first half to second half.
Yes.
Team and sideline went from standing to sitting real quick alongside conservative second half. He adds another $10 here. We shouldn't even be arguing about the correct 4th and 1 play. The fact that this is even an argument is the problem regardless of what was chosen.
Right, they're up 28-7.
Yeah.
That should not be.
No, it's a great point. It's a great point, Dominic.
You are right, Dominic. They should not have been in that position. Of course, when you get in the position, what do? But, of course, they should not have been there.
Technauts, same thing, $10. 4th down was a debacle, but we shouldn't have been in that spot. This L is on the D. They adjusted their O after our last score, and we did zip. Total collapse, 100% on our interim DC, #FlushTheFlus.
Well, that's another point. If Alan Williams was coaching this game today, we'd be sitting here crushing the defensive coordinator. And that defensive coordinator is Matt Eberflus right now, who either is letting players choose to come to the game or not come to the game.
Can I be on the can I sit out tomorrow's show? What do you think? I got to say, no, I won't say that. Okay.
If you want, you can pull up Ray Beza's Super Chat. He's in the chat right now talking about everybody's injured. He's been on my ass for weeks. And I appreciate Ray's passion for this team.
Right. This one,
yes, sir.
Stiffen the chin one?
Yeah, he says, Bragg, stiffen the chin up. My brother is a Broncos fan. It's gut-wrenching. I think we're on We're one Aiden Hutchinson away. We turned over a new roster, and it takes time for our teams to develop cohesion. Hey, man, you're a more patient man than I, and I can respect that. But at the same time, dude, at some point you got to call things for what they are. And when you talk about this culture not matching up with some of the decisions they've made, when you talk about the attention to detail or lack thereof, at some point, it's year 2 now. What you're saying there about it takes time, patience, you have to take the next step in some regard this year. I don't think anybody was like, you have to make the playoffs or we're going to rail against you. But we all should have an expectation, including you, Ray, that they can make a sizable step in the right direction. Not just the quarterback, the coach and the team as well. And instead, they've gotten more players to this team. and they've taken a step back that shouldn't be acceptable for anyone.
Look, if they had come back against a great football team, if they were playing the Philadelphia Eagles today and they ended up losing by 3 and Fields played great and you lost a tough game and Jalen Hurts beat you at the end or whatever, even if you had a bad turnover and you wanted to talk about that the Bears made some progress, that'd be cool. Losing to an 0-3 Broncos team that's got no chance of making the playoffs and gave up 70 points last week, and after being up 28-7, you just can't. You can't put lipstick on that pig. You can put lipstick on the beautiful thing that is Fubo TV. 140 live channels of sports, shows, movies, news, stream live to your TV from any device. The most Chicago sports for the lowest price. You can watch the Bears get to 0-5 Thursday night with Fubo TV. Start watching immediately with a free trial. No contract, no cable, no hassle. Sign up and start watching. College football, the Big Ten, NFL, Bears, NFL Network, Red Zone, Ryder Cup, all that stuff you could have watched on the old Fubo TV. Fubo TV is awesome. Give it a shout. Give it a try. Watch all your favorite college football and NFL with Fubo. Go to www.FuboTV.com/CHGO. FuboTV.com/CHGO. When you sign up, you get 15% off your first month of Fubo Pro.
My transitions are better.
I disagree. I thought that was a great thing.
Put lipstick on a Fubo TV.
Well, what I'm gonna
What
do?
are we talking about?
What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go home.
Yeah, and what are you going to do?
Later.
I think I might. You know how last week I watched the offensive film and then I said, you know what? I can't do this.
Yeah?
What you guys tell me what I should do. Should I watch this film?
No, I think you should stop at Sunnyside.
film?
I would do.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Or should I just put on a nice movie with hang out with Sunnyside?
I think you go movie Sunnyside.
Movie Sunnyside.
I mean,
at some point we have to.
Oh, what a transition, guys.
Terrible.
Did you guys work on that?
That was good chemistry, though. He knew where I
Yeah,
was
total
going.
chemistry. You guys were great.
He knew where
thought
I
it
was
was
going.
terrible.
Because Sunnyside is your home for judgment-free cannabis shopping, a place where all kinds of visitors are welcome to explore, discover, purchase a wide array of
delicious.
high-quality products. They have everything you need to elevate your football season. And boy, do we need to do that. No matter where you are on your cannabis journey, easy online ordering, in-store pickup, great transparent loyalty programs. Sunnyside Rewards, they have it all. And they have a great Sunnyside House of Brands, Mindy's, Good News, Cresco High Supply, FloraCal, born on the West Coast, FloraCal Farms, Wonder, the Wonder Wellness Company, and Remedy, the wellness-minded cannabis. They got everything you need there at Sunnyside. And through October 15th, head to sunnyside.shop. Use code CHGO25 at checkout for 25% off your total order. One use per customer, not stackable with other promotions. That's not only for new customers. Anyone can use our code. Pick up everything you need to elevate your football season. Must be 21 plus or an Illinois Med Card holder. Again,
Real quick, I'm going to send another, I appreciate earlier I asked for likes from everyone. We've got 4,500 people watching right now.
let's go, by the way.
Thank you so much. I feel like there's a lot of new viewers. If you could please do what Bagman asks and hit that thumbs up for us, that would be super kind. If you could tell a friend about us, subscribe. We go live after every game.
Hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Thank you all.
We appreciate it for sure. And follow the Lawrence move. Tell a friend. For your Chicago sports content, CHGO Sports. For your Bears content, obviously specifically CHGO Bears.
And you can become a diehard at allchgo.com/diehard. Eric, Super Chat 999. Are you guys in or out on Fields after today? Are we Caleb Williams or bust? You know what? That's almost the worst part about this game, them losing, is that now I'm confused again. Because so 2 weeks ago I went on this little rant that our awesome social media team put on Instagram about how, and my message was basically, Fields is too talented to just be another Chicago quarterback bust. And he is more talented than Mitch Trubisky. And I said all that, and then after last week's game, I noticed, you ever have a video go viral later? Not right away, but later?
All the time.
All of a sudden last week I started getting all these comments from all these trolls that definitely don't follow me on Instagram. that were just like, no, Mitch was better, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, because Fields has looked so bad since I said that. But isn't today more evidence that it's in there somewhere? Or is it, he failed in the fourth quarter again? It's just not there.
He had a very positive day. I do think that it is in there. I don't think it's like...
But is it coming back with the way they lost?
Well, look,
I really do think this is one of those situations where not winning the game is very damaging.
Well, I mean, like I said, we've been trying to dissect and find the root of the problem here, going back and forth. Is it Getsy? Is it Fields? Is it Getsy? Is it Fields? Today, push that pendulum far into this is a Getsy problem.
But
far
Fields is still
into
not good
it.
in the fourth quarter, man.
I understand that, but you can work with what you saw today from Fields. And as you mentioned, how long it took Getsy to adjust to make this game plan for Fields to go 16-16 to start the game, throw for his first 300-yard game, throw for 4 touchdowns, and then the inability to then adjust later in the game against a team that gave up 700 yards of offense. Last year he did the same thing. Look how long it took him to adjust to the talent that he had on the team. So, to me, the root of the problem, it's clear as day that Luke Getsy is that. Now, to answer the question of is Fields the guy or not, or is it for Caleb Williams, that's a more layered discussion because of the fact that we have 2 first-round picks that could fall right into quarterbacks where you can reset the clock, and Justin Fields' contract and where he is in his career coming up on his 4th year. It's a layered discussion. That's why it's confusing.
As far as like getting answers to, look, you got the Commanders coming up Thursday night.
They lost in heartbreaking.
They lost in a heartbreaking fashion. They gave up 34 points to the Eagles today. They gave up 37 to the Bills. They gave up 33 to the Broncos, and they gave up 16 to the Cardinals. So Justin is going to have, and the Bears offense are going to have a good opportunity to back up the performance today, Thursday night. So,
Yeah, they did that against the Eagles.
Who's going to block
Commanders.
Who's going to block Sweat? Because the last time we played Washington,
Well, my point is,
no one did.
I'm saying they're giving up a lot of points.
who? Washington?
Washington. They gave up 34 to Philly.
They also
They give-
They're
look how
playing
many.
the Eagles today.
And look
did
how
it
many-
go into overtime?
Yeah.
And look how many
Did you see what
points.
the Bears did against the Chiefs last week?
And look how many
I'm
points
not
they
talking about, I'm not
scored.
talking about winning the game. I'm just talking about scoring points. I'm just talking about Fields' evaluation.
Oh.
That's all I'm talking about is Fields' evaluation.
Say
I'm just
this.
telling you that teams are scoring points against Washington.
And if Washington can drop 30 plus on Philly's defense,
I'm not talking about winning the game at all. I'm not even thinking about winning the game. I'm just answering the Fields. I'm just looking for more evidence from just, you can't just sit there and be like, oh, he looked great for 2.5 quarters or 3 quarters against Denver and be like, he's got it. But,
All right.
so, I don't know.
Let's
Can you move that Pepsi to that side? Thank
No,
you so
I
much.
can't.
Yes, you can. Thank you.
let's
Nicholas Moreano.
Let's talk to our guy Nicholas Moreano at Soldier Field. Got a lot of questions for you. Let's start with this Claypool stuff. You explain how you were in the room. You explain what Flus seemed to mean, what he was saying, if he was being clear, what did it seem like he was trying to dodge the question? Because I think all that context kind of matters compared to us reading these quotes on Twitter, and then how the clarification from the Bears came afterward.
Yes. Okay. I'm going to try to put this as clear as possible because it's a little even confusing going back to the transcripts. He was Matt Eberflus was asked about Claypool and why he wasn't here, and what Eberflus said. We told him that was a choice, and he is at home right now. And then he was he aware that he'd be inactive? Eberflus was asked, was he aware he would be inactive before he talked to the media on Friday? And then Eberflus said we do the inactives before the game. And then the comments that he said about on how he was being used did not have a factor in Claypool being inactive. So, I mean, that's what Eberflus said in the press conference. And basically it was his choice to stay home. So we put that out there. And once we get back up from the press conferences, then a Bears spokesperson basically tells us, the coach messed up. The team asked Claypool to stay home is what the final, however you want to look at this. Chase Claypool, was it his choice? Was it not? the team, according to the Bears spokesperson, asked Claypool to stay home for this Bears and Broncos game.
So do you take that as a sign that it wasn't the coach's decision to make Chase Claypool inactive, and that it was Ryan Poles' decision, and then also it was Ryan Poles' decision to tell him to stay home? Because that's how I'm seeing it now.
I feel like again, this is just, how I'm kind of interpreting it. It was Chase Claypool, like, ultimately, his decision. He wanted to stay home. Didn't want to be on the side. That was the first thing I looked for, you guys, when I got to Soldier Field. Where was Chase? Yeah. Obviously nowhere to be found. So it felt like to me, and, Fields even brought in his, post-game press conference about how he, just needs to work better on his public display of his emotions. And we know that. We've seen that kind of with Chase Claypool and how he can act, or how he presents himself. So, to me, it kind of feels like you're not going to be active. I'm staying home on Sunday.
So now the other part of this, like at a minimum, the optics of all that confusion there is horrible. I don't understand why a head coach would say he had a choice. Again, this is, well, whatever. We can talk about that later. But Fields also followed up, though, and from what I've seen on Twitter and your reporting, seems to like Claypool and still wants him around. And I'm sitting here wondering, reading those tweets, is this why he's been given second, third, fourth chances? And it seems a little, I don't know. What was Fields like as he was answering those questions?
Yeah, so he said, too, once he found out the news that Chase was going to be inactive, he called Chase just to see if everything was good. And then he was asked, do you want Chase on this team? And he said, of course he wants Chase on his team. And again, this is where Fields said he has to just work on his display of his emotions. And he's had multiple conversations with Chase Claypool about this. But again, he, just reassures everybody. He's like, yes, it's an easy answer. Like, he wants Chase Claypool on this team. I look at it as how many chances this guy going to get, when you want to have accountability for players, but this guy keeps getting a pass for things. But yeah, from how Fields was talking about him, he does still want him on this team, still called him a weapon that he can utilize. But, obviously that wasn't the case for today's game.
Nick, let's go in the locker room. I know you talked to Darnell Wright. What if you can lean into that or anything else that stood out for you from the guys that you were speaking to?
Yeah, and just real quick, one of my initial big takeaways just going into this locker room, Justin Fields sat down at his locker, head down, was not talking to anybody, did not look up. We were talking to our guy Cole Kmet, as Justin Fields is about 2 lockers away from him, head down. You could just tell this one hurt. This one hurt you guys. You could see it, just how he was sitting there. And, I think the very last, one of the second to last questions in the press conference, it was, someone brought it up, you sat at your locker for a while. What were you thinking about? And it was just a lot of things. So, I mean, that's the initial, one of the first things I see. But again, talking to Darnell Wright, again, he was at his locker and he kind of looked defeated. And I asked him about the 4th and 1 play, and he basically, called himself out. I missed a crucial block on that. It's a linebacker that he said he was just late on and he didn't get the block. And Justin Fields, talked about, he was asked about that 4th and 1 play as well, saying that it is a read option, but we just need to block it up better on the backside. But those are 2 players on the offense. Cole Kmet was a little bit, I think, more. It didn't look as defeated. As we all know, he's really good at talking. But just looking at Justin Fields, this one definitely hurt you guys. And watching this in the press box, how it's went, it obviously would hurt.
Yeah, it had to hurt because, it's his first career 300-yard game, something he's been waiting, all fans have been waiting to see if he can get. 4 touchdowns, 16-16, a franchise record, completed passes to start the game. But at the end of the day, it's the interception at the end that there will be a large majority of Bears fans that will focus on, because that's, how it ended. And Fields obviously is wearing that on his sleeve. I saw you spoke to Cole Kmet and obviously Justin Fields. Did you get any clarification on, I know some of the reports come out that, Cole Kmet's running the route one way. But is there any clarification on who this was exactly on?
So here's how Justin Fields put it, and I think Justin's really good at detailing his mistakes. He owns up to them, and I think he put it in great detail here. So Justin Fields on that interception saw man, and he saw the safety. The safety had depth. He expected Cole to go to a spot and sit down because of the safety depth. Cole stuck to the rules, Fields said, selling over and then breaking back out. That's why it kind of looked like Cole Kmet wanted to go the other direction. And then Fields said, all in all, it's his fault. But in man coverage, he is supposed to do what Cole Kmet did. Sell it and then go back out. But Fields, in his mind, he wanted him to play, quote, football and sit down in space. That's why he threw to a spot. And Cole Kmet, he explained it very similarly. Like, he saw this, and so he was breaking back out. So you ask Greg, whose fault is it on? If you're going by the rules of what the coverage is saying, it looked like Cole Kmet was doing what he was supposed to do. But I think Justin kind of wanted to, again, play, like how he put it, football, and just kind of throw to a spot. So that's how Fields described it, and that's what also Cole Kmet was relaying when he spoke about the play in the post-game press conference.
That is just chemistry. I mean, really, what
They've
it
been
comes
together 3 years.
I know, it's frustrating.
They got to know each other.
Nick, you explained that very well. I appreciate Fields' information on that. You did a good job of explaining it, which is essentially there's an option on that route, it sounds like, based on what the coverage is. Cole Kmet ran it the correct way based on man coverage. However, football is not black and white. I wrote about this in my newsletter last week. It is gray, and you have to live in the gray sometimes on the football field. It sounds like that's what Fields was doing because he realized that even though it was man, that it was open if Cole just sits there. And so it's probably okay. Whose fault is it at the end of the day? Who gets the downgrade? Probably Fields, because he's the one that didn't stick with the rules. But at the same time, I understand what he's thinking there. You want him to play free, and you just wish that they were on the same page. And maybe if Cole sees that, it's thrown in the right spot. That's tough. That's a tough situation.
It's a tough play, guys.
Yeah.
It really is a tough play. And, obviously you watch the game. Those two were connecting all day.
Yeah.
Two touchdowns on the day and, multiple other plays. But in the split seconds, when you really need it, it's like having that one mind. And I just think back when I was in Kansas City where Patrick Mahomes connects with Travis Kelce. Like, Kelce's not supposed to run, in the middle of the field. He's supposed to have a corner route, but they're on the same wavelength. And clearly on this last second play towards the end of the game, Cole Kmet, Justin Fields did not have, that type of connection. And it's unfortunate, but yeah, I mean, that's how football goes. Split-second decision can lead to completely different results.
Yeah, Nick, anything else we're missing from the locker room or anything?
I mean, Terrell Edmonds was speaking, and I think, a lot of what he was saying was that you can't feel sorry for ourselves. You continue to work. Adversity builds character. How you kind of go through adversity kind of defines you in this role. And that's great to hear from I guess it's great to hear. But for me, you guys, I was waiting for the, Edmonds to still make that big impact play when the Bears defense really needed in the second half. And you just kind of forget that, 49's out there as big and, being that middle linebacker in the middle of this defense, you just almost forget about it. And maybe I'll have to go back and rewatch the All-22 to get a better, perspective on his plays specifically. But, Terrell, he's always going to say all the right things. I'm still waiting to feel the impact of Edmonds.
Yeah, you mean Tremaine Edmonds, but I don't think anybody can. Sorry. I don't think anybody will blame you if your head is spinning at this point, because all of ours are.
It's a long day, and Nick's got a huge semifinal and championship game tomorrow, Monday night softball. So I get it. But Nick, I appreciate
it's your choice if you want to come to the game, though.
Yeah. Just
I like it.
Just communicate. Actually, it's your choice, but I'll find out from upper management if there's a different directive.
And your girlfriend was none too pleased that you didn't take a selfie with her at the tailgate before you left. Just thought I'd report back
I
to you.
did
on
get
that.
I did get it as I was walking our guys from DNVR to Soldier Field. I saw the text message that I probably should have responded to when I was at the tailgate. So, yes, I'm aware. But she had a great time, and she loved hanging out for the first CHGO Bears tailgate, and hopefully there's more to come, and hopefully there will be wins to follow. These tailgates. Tailgates have always been great, you guys.
I was gonna say, this is like the Kelsey Brothers podcast. We were all excited after the Taylor Swift thing.
Couples coverage must listen to this week after that.
You got some splaining to do.
There's Golden Bachelor and couples coverage. That's what everybody should be tuned in this week.
I mean, I would just come out to softball tomorrow night and root the Moreanos on.
Okay.
Even though they're not the Moreanos just yet.
Nick, Nick, on your way out of Soldier Field, let me know if you see any or feel any sense of accountability anywhere near that stadium at any point.
You're probably not going to hear back from me. So, I mean,
you're
probably not going to hear back from me. Yeah.
That's a great point. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Well, okay. Nick, good stuff.
Thanks, Nick. You can follow him on Twitter at Nicholas Moreano. All of his written stuff up at allchgo.com.
I got a question.
Can I bring a little clarity real quick? Jason Leisure, I appreciate him doing this, tweeted out the actual transcript of what Nick was just talking about when it came to this. This is the exact questioning and the exact answers from reporters to Matt Eberflus on Chase Claypool. Was Claypool here today? Quote, he was not here. Did you guys tell him to stay home? No. He chose to stay home? No. What are you asking? Why was he not at the stadium today like the other inactive players? I'm not sure. So it was his choice? We told him that it was a choice, and he's at home right now.
Let me ask you this. That was Matt Eberflus.
Then they watched how it
started to spin.
And then they came back and said, let's clean this up.
So is that nobody can answer this better on the set than Adam Hoge, who understands strategies and whatnot and how the Bears work.
I don't understand anything right now.
Well, why did they feel the need to clarify? What does that accomplish for them? I don't get it. Are they trying to? Are they? My only thought was that
it was the idea that a player would have a choice to be at the game is ridiculous.
So
that's why they had to be like, wait a minute, we cannot have this out there that we gave him the choice to show up or not. You don't get a choice. You're on the team or you're not on the team. If you have an injury and you're rehabbing an injury, yes, you don't have to make road trips. Sometimes if your injury is bad enough, you don't come to even the home games.
But so then if you do that though, then that makes the head coach look terrible.
If you have to clarify?
Yes. Does it not?
Well, he looks bad either way.
So they made the decision that this dude looks terrible either way, so we'll just lean into that and try to make the organization look better by saying that we actually told him to stay home. This makes upper management look better? Is that how that went down? I'm confused.
Right. Like they heard, he said that we gave him the option. So let's have him go out there and say, well, actually he just didn't know. And in their minds that was helping him. But it makes it worse that he didn't know.
I know. Look, hey, and this is how Jason put it on Twitter, too. He said the original thing about Claypool was up to him to come to the game or not. Say he chose not to. Eberflus says he's still part of the team, expects him to be in the building Monday as usual. Then Jason's next tweet, this was all in a thread. Bears spokesman later said the team did tell Chase Claypool to stay home for the game today. Then the next tweet, Jason says, I'm just telling you what they said. You decide what to believe. And then he responded with what we just read to you, which was the transcript with the added in the tweet. He also said, tell me where in this transcript there is an unclear question to Matt Eberflus about the Claypool situation. Poorly handled all around.
Yeah.
I mean, wow.
And look, it has nothing to do with today's game. That team came out ready to play. They were 100% engaged. They weren't thinking about number 10 and his lack of contribution to this football team since he's gotten here. Didn't seem like they were looking around for him in any way, shape, or form. Bears offense looked great, and this is just a story because it's underlining the dysfunction of the football team, really. But it had nothing to do with today's game. But yeah, go ahead.
So when Justin Fields asks these questions on Claypool, he's kind of put in a tough position.
Extremely tough position.
You're never going to hear – well, sometimes you'll hear a player throw a teammate under the bus, but usually it's not, and I don't think that that's in Justin Fields' DNA. So we read this earlier. Now I'm seeing this from Pat Finley. Justin Fields on if he wants Chase Claypool around. Do I want him on this team? Of course. Chase, he's a weapon. He's passionate. He just has to work on his display of his emotions. Me and him have had multiple conversations with that. So you do sense a little frustration there at the end. Like, we've had this conversation multiple times. So I guess my question to you, and it's impossible to answer, so I apologize, but it's just like, do you think he really wants him on the team?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I wouldn't.
Thanks for answering it directly.
Yeah. Which in the pregame we're debating 5th round pick, 6th round pick, 7th round pick. What can we get for him? And then a report on Twitter from Jordan Schultz comes out that the Bears are trying to trade Chase Claypool, which would make sense. We'll see if that actually comes to be. And then Hoge, you were saying like, well, and I said that if I was a team that needed a wide receiver, would I give a flyer on him with some conditions? I would. But then you throw out there like, well, would you be afraid of him going to Green Bay? And let me emphatically say on the postgame show, I'd love him to go to Green Bay. Go right into that locker room and you do your whole act up there. That'd be fantastic. I think that'd be great for us. You go up there and do you. And you can talk. You can have all your influence on Christian Watson and Jordan Love and Romeo Doubs and all the young Packer players. I would beg the Packers to take him. Yeah. Wouldn't be worried about him coming and crushing the Bears in any way, shape, or form. Let's just throw him right in the Packer locker room. Go right ahead. Have at it. You wanted him last year. We overpaid. How about you get him on a bargain right now? No problem. You can have him.
It's a good take.
The big elephant in the room continues to be how Kevin Warren looks at situations like this. Because I know how Ted Phillips used to look at it, and this probably wouldn't have – maybe there would have been an internal meeting on Monday.
No, yeah.
Hey, how'd that happen?
How much money we make on Sunday? Yeah,
and then, it would be explained, and then he'd be like, okay. And then, no.
I don't even really, whatever. Go ahead. I'm not going to railroad Ted Phillips, but I could. I won't. He's not here anymore.
Well,
doesn't matter.
well,
I don't think they care about the money either. Like, I think they like that they make some money, but if they actually cared about making a lot of money, they'd try to find a way to be a great organization, because great organizations rake in the dough. Like, they don't care about, and this is where I want Kevin Warren to take us to that next level, an expectation that's higher than what we've been. That's what I want.
What did Poles call when he spoke to the media last? He had a word for it.
We're in the fire, or we're in a storm.
We're in a storm.
Justin said that, right?
No, Poles said it. We're in a tumultuous time, something along those lines.
Yeah. Oh, what is it now?
They're still in it.
It's the longest hurricane I've ever seen. All right, let's fire through some super chats. Got through. Let me just see. Yeah, we're good there. All right.
Russell Dorsey, Ryan Poles should ask Flus to stay home tomorrow. Oh, boy.
I'm not. Here's another indication how bad this is. 3 or 4 weeks ago, I would never have envisioned a scenario in which I could see the new president of the team going over the general manager's head and saying, this coach is fired. It just seemed like they were all too much on the same page. First of all, the thought of Flus being fired would have been something that none of us would have. We would never even talked about that. And we would have said, you're crazy. But if, again, this is a hypothetical that we've never seen with the Bears and probably still won't if I had to put my money on it. But if we found out, if like later tonight we got that random late Sunday night text from tweet from Adam Schefter, it was like the Bears fired Matt Eberflus.
Oh, that would just be
okay.
Such a fun emergency podcast.
And we found out that we found that wouldn't be fun. By the way, we don't celebrate people losing jobs, but
I'm not saying fun in regards to him losing his job. Just the fact that we've worked done all this hard work all day, and then to be doubled down on a atom bomb like that.
Yeah,
that was
what
more
I'm
of
getting
what I
at though
meant.
is then we found out that it actually was Kevin Warren come over to the top to make a move like that, which you kind of have to assume for even the Bears allowing such a move like that in the middle of the season. Again, I know this is going to happen, but wouldn't you say that it would be justifiable?
Well, no, because at that point, if you're doing that, then you might as well fire Ryan Poles too. Yeah. Because if you don't trust your GM to make the right decision, because what a good president would do would go into Ryan Poles' office and go, "Do you think this is acceptable? Whose fault is this? Do you think you should fire Matt Eberflus and Luke Getsy? Because if you don't, then you're going to be judged on that decision here as the year continues. And I'm giving you the power to fire them if you think that's necessary now. But if you don't, then things need to change for the rest of the season. And then when they don't, they're all accountable for it."
What's the more concerning thing to you, the way the fourth down call was made at the end of the game or the way this Chase Claypool thing was handled?
Jesus, I choose death.
The fourth down's much more concerning because
I disagree with you hard. That's something you can learn from. It's a situation as a still, he's not a young coach, but he's still somewhat of a new head coach. And it's one of the first times he's been thrown in a tough spot like that late in the game. You can learn from those mistakes. The Claypool thing just shows like a trend here over 4 weeks of not having any clue how to handle this stuff.
I mean, the reason why I gave my first answer is because that's on the field, and ultimately his job is to win games on the field. And if he can do that, then his handling of crisis is, albeit wonky at best, incompetent, more likely, / at worst. I would say that his ability to handle moments of key nature smoothly and make clear decisions ultimately is more important. But I hear where you're coming from. If you when you are the leader of a football team, you need to be able to lead. DJ Moore, or who was it? Whoever it was, said, "I'm tired of the same post-game." Jalen Johnson said it.
Yep.
"I'm tired of the same post-game press conference. I'm tired of all this." I mean, Jalen didn't play today. But can you imagine him walking into that locker room after that today and saying whatever the hell he said? "Guys, you battled. You gave it your all. You were right there. You know, we just got to execute better. We got to stick to the hits philosophy. Our hustle was there. Our intensity was there. The ball. We didn't get it today. As you see, we didn't win. We didn't get the ball, and we gave the ball away. And we got to be a little smarter. We didn't hit on the T. We didn't hit on the S. That's what we got to be better at come Thursday night. If we do that, we'll end this 14-game win streak. Have a great night. Thanks for your efforts today. I know it's a tough one. I'll see you tomorrow." Is that how that went?
Yeah, I mean, I agree.
And then Justin Fields went to his locker and sat there like, life was over for half an hour, and I get it.
Right. I agree, like where somebody said earlier, like, what does this matter? The culture matters. The way your head coach leads matters. When he keeps walking to the podium after each game, and instead of starting with, A, taking personal accountability of what he can do better, and then B, leaving the silver lining playbook for the back end of the press conference. Start with what you need to do better. Start with what the team needs to do better. Start with holding your players accountable. Start with attention to detail. Kevin Kadick, head of content, tweets, "Matt Eberflus keeps dodging every opportunity to take any shred of blame. A lot of talk about the players' execution, though. There's no way the players don't notice."
It's a great point by Kevin. One time, he'll say that we all need to be better.
Well, that's what he did say today. I was going to say I saw this tweet earlier.
He'll say that.
He was like, "Yeah, we all got to be better," but he doesn't just say this, and that starts with me.
Right. I did not put my team in the best position to win down the stretch. We didn't get it done on fourth down. That play's got to work. Guys got to execute, yes, but ultimately that was my decision. It didn't work, so it falls on me.
That's what a leader does. That's why when Chase Claypool didn't show effort week 1, and you have a meeting with him instead of just making him inactive? He's a big boy. He's an adult. He's a professional athlete.
I agree. This was all created by mistakes made weeks ago.
And then it gets to this point.
Yeah, it's been horribly handled from the start. It's just been Boss Haas, and we got to get to a bunch of these super chats. Carm's notes as well. $50 super chat. Fields to Atlanta for a second or third round pick. Head coach and OC out. First and second pick in the 2024 draft. Bring in the OC from Detroit. That's Ben Johnson as the new head coach. Too much? ? I just don't.
They're not trading Justin Fields, but I do wonder.
I don't think you can get a second or third round pick.
Yeah, you can.
He plays like this 4 more times in a row.
But here's my question to Boss Haas's super chat. Hey, Justin, 2 options. You can stay in Chicago and ride this out, or we're going to trade you to Atlanta. What do you want?
Oh, we're giving him a choice now, too?
Yeah. Everybody gets a choice.
You get a choice. You get a choice.
What do you think he'd say? Do you think he'd be like, I want to do this here? I'm that guy? Or do you think he'd say, you know what? I'd love to go home.
By the way, the Falcons would be so good with Justin Fields.
I don't think we want to answer that question.
Bijan Robinson, Justin Fields in the same backfield. Arthur Smith in that offense.
Bring him home.
Well,
I think I would become a Falcons fan.
Hey, you got Ryan Pace down there. You got all. You
breaking Michael Vick's record anyway.
I mean, you got 7,000 Bears on that team. Okay, let's keep going.
All right, Robert Patterson, not Pattinson, 1999. This staff could be up 55-0 at the start of the fourth quarter and would manage to lose 56-55.
It's on the table, Robert.
Another one right behind him there.
Another 999er. Haven't seen a staff find a way to lose against all odds. In spirit of Halloween, want to know something scary? Matt Eberflus's win percentage.
Thank you, Robert.
It's good stuff, Robert. Yeah, we're gonna have to keep flying through these. Appreciate all the support.
You're the man, Robert.
Super chats, new subscribers. Again, we're here all week. We're gonna be back here at noon tomorrow. Theo. W.
Another 20 pounds
20 pounds sterling.
Oh, you got
What?
that one. Yeah, you were trying to get that one.
I got it, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Braggs hitting the nail on the head. The coaches 100% need to be fired, but while it was a good overall day for Fields, I'm not sure I've seen Fields ever clutch up at the end of the game.
That's what it looked like.
That was concerning. I'm not going to lie. I don't think Fields deserves a lot of blame for this loss. He never, as so many people pointed out, he never should have been in that position, but
he looked uncomfortable, Theo. You're absolutely right. That being said, I mean, he made some good throws. They were moving the ball. He had the communication with Komet. He picked up a huge first down with his legs. That was sweet.
Juan Solorio Jr., $20. Just had a major realization. Been a Bears fan since 2007. Wins or losses, and I prefer the wins. I look forward more to CHGO Bears than the actual Bears.
Thank you, Juan.
Thank you for your commentary. Hello from LA. Juan, I can speak as somebody who feels very, very similar about most of our teams in this town. I feel the same way, especially with my White Sox. I stopped watching White Sox games a long time ago, and I still tune in for CHGO White Sox all the time. And when I don't see it live, I listen in the car.
Juan, I really appreciate that comment a ton, and that sucks. You should be enjoying your football team more than you should be enjoying the show, but thank you so much.
Yeah. We appreciate the sport.
That's what we're here for.
Thanks,
Richard
Juan.
Budnick, $10. You know why I'm here. Go around the horn for some positives. Featuring Law Dog. Always about the positive. Sorry about Northwestern, Carm. That's on me.
Yeah, Richard was sending me Twitter direct messages yesterday, like, because Northwestern was hanging around with Penn State. I'm like, they are for now. And then Penn State ended up covering.
Positives. What do you got?
But, look.
Positives.
You start, Lawrence. What's the positive?
I got one.
Okay,
go ahead, Law.
Oh, me first? Okay, well, I will go with, if I could get myself on camera. Hi. I'm going to say the tailgate was fantastic, and meeting the diehards that were there, I mean, we've kind of mentioned it before, but like from Idaho, April, and her.
Ireland.
From Ireland. we got bottles of bourbon. It kind of like was like, it's a little moving that this is the community we're trying to build. This is kind of the point of this company. We want to be close to you guys as fans, and it's really cool to see up close. It's awesome to have you guys come and say that you're enjoying us. It's very neat.
You're here.
Thank you.
Go ahead, Bregs.
That was really well said. My positives, DJ Moore.
Okay. Darnell Mooney had a great day today. Great day, Richard. He was fantastic. I really was happy to see him, and we haven't seen a whole lot of Darnell in a while here. He looks healthy, made some tough catches, was a great teammate, picking guys up. I enjoyed Darnell.
I mean, my positive was, despite the mistakes to end the game, which it was a collective effort defensively, coaches, Fields, the offense and Justin Fields adjusted and took a step in the right direction. If they can somehow build off of this, that would be great. Please do not resort back to sucking on Thursday. Be competitive. Let Justin Fields continue. Whatever you guys were doing for the first 3.5 quarters of that game, build off of that. Keep doing more of that. Because it was nice to see a quarterback that looked comfortable behind the line of scrimmage, a pocket where he had plenty of time to throw, delivering the football, making checks at the line of scrimmage, showing patience when he got out of the pocket, not going to just take off, looking, keeping his eyes downfield, manipulating the defense to come in. Whoop, little touch pass to Cole Kmet.
That was awesome.
He did that more than a few times on 2 different touchdown passes, showing patience, waiting for the receiver to come open. It was great to see. And I've lost hope in the entire process. I think all the coaches and the quarterback are going to be gone at the end of the year. But today, he started to turn that narrative to where, hey, maybe not. And I don't know how it's going to turn out. I'm just watching like the rest of you. So it was nice to watch them take a step in the right direction.
All right. Moving along.
Boss Haas says he's going to be in town for the Raiders game, and he'd love to link up and drinks on him. Or her.
All right,
sure
boss.
Haas is,
hit us up on the Twitter.
There's 2 people in that photo.
I'm always down.
Quentin Helms.
999 sucks that we've been asking Justin to throw with anticipation, and he finally does there to Kmet, and they are on the wrong page. Feel bad for the kid.
That's a great underlining, Quentin. He did there. You're right. And that is part of his development. And he went for it in the biggest moment, and it just didn't work out. So hopefully he won't be gun-shy going forward on it. I mean, we've said 100 times on the show, I don't care if you throw 5 interceptions. Throw the ball downfield. Now, they had to throw it right there, but that's part of development. So,
real quick, I wanted to communicate something Justin said in the postgame, too. Had to do with the fumble, the scoop and score. He said it's tough because the rule on boots, on nakeds, is that there's no sacks. You can't take a sack is what he's trying to say. Okay, so that's your guy. You essentially dirt the ball.
Okay.
If you can, okay? So in that situation, of course, you'd rather have a sack than a fumble, scoop and score for a touchdown. Me personally, I turned around, he was right there. I was just trying to dirt the ball. It didn't end up working that way. If I could do anything, I don't know if I could really do anything, to be honest with you. I just tried to get the ball out and just kind of make it. I don't know what the down and distance was on that play, but just make an incomplete pass and move on to the next play.
See, but, okay.
So that's what I'm getting at with the coaching. That's how bad the play call was. He couldn't even dirt the ball.
Right, but if I going to nitpick that answer, what he didn't say is that he didn't need to. I should have just taken the sack.
But he's saying they coach him up no sacks whatsoever.
But you can't have your cake and eat it too, because on the interception, he said the rule is Cole Kmet goes this way, but I just wanted him to play football. So you can't have your cake and eat it too and talk about improvising there, but then on that one, make a judgment call and improvise and just take the sack even if the rule says otherwise, right?
I know, but guys, the guy was on his ass.
Oh, I get it.
If you're coached that you dirt the ball in that situation, so you see a guy coming out of your corner of your eye, you go to dirt it, and it's not my corner of my eye, it's in my eye. That's how fast he was there. Like, what are you supposed to do? You can't protect the ball
I agree.
that
The
fast.
coach put him.
It's a terrible call.
The coach left him out to dry. I agree with that.
That's just bad.
But knowing that, your coach is the reason this play's about to take a sack. Take the sack. It's on the coach.
1,000% agree on the call. And I just think in the moment, feel of the game, the whole thing, this is a...
I'm just saying there wasn't enough time for him even to tuck the ball.
I Okay.
I agree with your premise. He even says it in the answer.
Yeah, no, I got it.
Yeah, I'm not supposed to take a sack there, but yeah, I'd rather have a sack than a scoop and score.
Right, of course.
But he didn't even have time to. So you're on a boot, right? You on the boot. You see a guy coming. You're gonna go your coach to try to dirt it. So he puts the ball up here to throw it, and the guy was on his ass that quick he couldn't pull it back down and just accept the sack.
Right.
It's already out. Ball's out.
No, he needed to make the decision before he cocked it that I got to eat it right now, which is just a horrible position for him to be in, and it was a terrible play call. And we're not coming out of this game thinking that Justin Fields did anything today but moved himself forward, because he did. That is a fact.
All right. Lots of supers still to get through.
Rhett.
Sorry.
Rhett Dwenger. What's up, Rhett? $9.99. Bears at the top passer and 3 highest rushers on the week. I know it's Denver, but Fields is the guy. Flus got to go.
I hope so. On the Fields part, I hope.
Your turn. Quinn.
$9.99.
Yep.
Would it be a crazy idea if they get the first pick, clean house, draft Williams, but keep Fields and use the first 5 or 6 weeks to show that he can be good with good coaching, then flip him to a QB needy team? I got news for you. If you do that and Fields lights it up the first 5 to 6 weeks, you can't trade him and hope that your rookie is good.
Look, if this thing keeps on going sideways, it's a very weird position for them.
It is.
Because you're trying to develop him and get him good, and then he's playing well, and then you're sitting there with a guy who's thrown 21 touchdown passes and 1 interception so far this season. I mean, Caleb Williams appears to be every bit of that guy. So if you actually are in that position, which I still am highly skeptical that they will be in, at least with their own pick, because they certainly should have won today, and they're going to have a chance to win next week too, and there's a lot of winnable games on this schedule. But if it does get to that point, Ryan Poles is going to have maybe it's an easy decision, but at least right now it feels like a very tough decision to make.
D. Larso 15, $9.99. We all saw last year as Justin Fields' rookie year collectively, right? Because of Nagy. So let's look at this year as Fields' year 2. Let's look for positives. Continue to build. Coaches need out. All right.
It's somewhat fair. Big Dave is here, as we're about to see.
This is
Why don't you? Okay.
I mean, Rags just got coached up, emotionally coached up on being a fan.
I needed that.
That's what just happened.
I needed that.
Do you feel better?
I feel better.
I feel better too, just watching that.
I mean, Big Dave's just the king of the world. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
That.
And also, let's just be honest. I feel really bad for wife Jenny tonight.
To clarify, Braggs' wife.
That's Braggs' wife. I mean, she's really in for a tough one.
Can you not? Can we just move on?
I mean, you are going to be. You're going to be. You're going to be miserable. You're going to come in there. You're going to want to talk about this all night long. She's going to be. You need to sunny side up and do a movie. No Sunday Night Football for you. Do it for Jenny. If not, all right, keep going.
All right,
Chris Joy.
$10. I don't understand why you would play conservative in the third quarter. The only time you play conservative is the fourth quarter, up 5 touchdowns. Short yardage plays are also hot garbage.
Chris, they started playing conservative at the end of the first half.
Yeah.
Awful is the word.
Yep. Professor Fumbledore, $10. Braggs is right. Getsy is an issue, almost as much as Flus as DC. They're going to DC in a few days. Quentin Helms, $9.99. I also feel like the play calling got super conservative in the second half, which may work if we have a good defense, but we don't.
We don't.
I get we ran the ball well, but no shots downfield.
I don't even have as much of an issue with the defense collapsing in the second half to an extent when you consider that Jalen Johnson, Josh Blackwell, Kyler Gordon, Eddie Jackson, all out with injuries. They had a tall order in that regard, and Russell Wilson had been playing good football this season. I have a bigger issue with those crucial game moment management, and I don't just blame Luke Getsy for those. Matt Eberflus should be just as accountable for those crucial downs and distance as Luke Getsy.
All right, we're gonna do what we do. We're gonna go super 5 right now. We're gonna get our 5 best ones remaining. We apologize that we can't get to all super chats. I believe they've all been on the screen at some point, though. But
Actually, this Andrew Sullivan here. This one hasn't yet. He just threw this one in here.
So Andrew here, $9.99. So we have to think about the ability to re-sign Fields if he plays well.
Well, it's not re-signing. I mean, if you or Ryan Poles, you want to keep him.
Well, I think he's saying
there's a 5th-year option
he's
decision.
saying would Fields turn it down? I think right. Is that what he's going with there?
A good way to just simplify this week to week is, as of right now, are you picking up the 5th-year option?
Can I play the year out or no?
No, we're going to play this game every week.
Yes, I would pick
You're
it
a
up.
yes right now?
Yes,
I'm a no.
Okay.
Yeah. And I would be a yes if he had pulled it out in the 4th quarter. Frank Shaw, $10. I'm sorry, is that the right one? Yep, okay. A complete house cleaning is needed. The culture is broken. But as you have said many times, there's no one at the top you can trust to hire the right people. Just keep repeating the same mistakes.
Frank, that's where your hope for Kevin Warren comes in. So,
what's worse, being a White Sox fan where they just keep the same people in there for 20 years, or Bulls too, they take way too long to change, or the Bears where they are willing to fire people and cycle guys in and out, and it's always the same exact thing over and over again?
They both suck.
I can't.
It's all that.
I can't answer that question. I mean,
sorry for breaking Chicago with that question.
Big Dave says it's the Bears, so I'm going with Big Dave. Yeah. I mean, the Bear when you have incompetence at the top, it's a helpless feeling as a fan. You just know it ain't gonna change because the top is messed.
Alex Deno, $10. Bears suck, but one thing is still good. Carm is still the arguable GOAT.
Alex, you got to be in the family officially. I don't know. I got a cousin opening for you. You're invited to Thanksgiving, Friendsgiving, whatever you want. You're in, my man. Appreciate you.
JP's super chat. Claypool was probably enjoying a no plans Goose Island tasty time pale ale.
Yeah, that's a good one.
It's good product placement. Yeah.
God.
I think. Please feel free to hit me up on Twitter of what you think Claypool did during the game today. I'm very interested in what.
You think you watched the game?
I have no idea. I think literally that dude could have might just have walked down Michigan Avenue and gone shopping. Yeah. I checked his Instagram to see if there was a video. There's not.
Justin Frost, $10. On the bright side of our loss, Panthers lost, Texans won. We have the tank tiebreaker with the Broncos. I'm depressed mode and entering full tank mode. I need Goose Island, full pocket pills.
I mean, I agree. This is kind of the opposite of what happened last year when the Bears and Texans played, and the Bears almost blew it, and then Roquan saved them from winning it, and that almost costed the Bears that first pick. And then in some weird fashion it didn't. This went the other way, where there's two teams clearly right in that lane for a potential top pick. And this time, we're on the other end of the spectrum.
D-Tech Nation, $9.99. You guys see the shot of the fans wearing brown paper bags on their heads in the 4th quarter? They knew what was coming. Hashtag Papa Bears got a brand new brown bag.
There's a tune.
Uh-oh. Dan, what have you done, D-Tech?
That's a good one.
If you ever wonder what it's like to watch a game with Carm, he just tries out random new songs through most of the game.
I have such a good one for Fields, but now I got to change it.
Like, I always wonder how, songwriters come up with new lyrics. Like, if they're just insufferable, just walking around all the time, just, trying things. That's what you are. Except you're not a songwriter.
We've got, 3 songs that are in production right now.
That is 3 too many.
You will lean into liking songs.
I will lean into not liking songs. Solid Angle, $10. I think this is going to close us out, or we got one more after this. All right, this team really stepped up and found a new way to hurt the fan base. 14 in a row. Someone has to get fired.
It was October 24th, right? That's when they beat
close.
The Patriots. Can somebody double check that?
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it's right.
We're back in October, by
John
the way.
Davis, $10. Get this coaching staff
342
out of
days.
town. Bye. Your QB throws 4 TDs, makes one mistake, and your coaches and defense completely fail him. Again, Eberflus can pack his bags, get him out of House Hall today. Ryan Burton, $10. Eberflus has the coaching ability of a cucumber, and even that is being generous. I don't get that, but okay. I have never been more dejected as a Bears fan. Please hold them accountable at House Hall this week. And on, and on, and on, and on.
I'm calling it. That's it.
It's
You
been
have Carm's notes or no? You don't have to.
I do.
You
It's
can
been
punt on the notes.
Here's a good one from KRCHI Sports. $4.99.
Yeah,
At
I
least
called
Connor
it. I
Bedard
don't need
plays
your
it.
hockey super.
Hey.
Actually, I do. I meant, by the way, for the record, whoever that's behind that KR Shy Sports, that was directed at Law, not you. We
Yes.
appreciate the super chat.
Yeah, it was at me. I just
It
keep
is
throwing it on the
exciting.
screen.
342 days it's been since the Bears last won a game. But as I remind you about today's game in Carm's notes, let's go back to the opening drive. And Robert Tonyan with the first catch. That got 3 exclamation points. 2nd and 1, Fields to DJ Moore. I liked it. Not running the ball. Let's get our guy
Just
going.
the funny ones, all right?
I agree.
All right, fine. Hoge, what in God's name was that play? Herb was pissed about not going
Oh,
for it
I
on
forgot
4th.
about that play.
Yeah.
The play where, like, nobody blocked anyone, and, like, the offensive line just turned around, and then they just
And he-
tackled the guy.
Yeah, and he was dead.
that
Yeah.
was that might have been the worst play in the history of the NFL.
All right, real fast. There you
They
go.
should have called that on 4th down.
Why is
Imagine if they called that play on 4th down.
Why is Jack Sanborn guarding Jerry Jeudy? Why is Jack Sanborn making every single tackle?
Was that a funny one?
I mean,
I didn't know you could just ask your
Wasn't
phone.
that funny?
yeah.
They
Does
got
that work?
Yes, you can do that. Well, I asked Google. I didn't ask my phone.
How many days has it been since the Chicago Bears last won a game?
less talky, more funny.
Yeah, it doesn't really work.
Yeah, it's not going to work.
Your phone just exploded.
It's just melting on the inside.
We saw a guy when Law and I Ubered from the tailgate. We saw a guy that had this weird jersey that had like 10 numbers on it.
Yeah.
It was really weird.
A lot of
And
numbers.
Laura just goes, "That's how many days it's been since the Bears last won a football game." I laughed.
Yeah,
Our
that's a good
Uber
one.
driver was concerned. He didn't even know that there was a Bears game.
He did not, no.
Hoge freak out on 4th and 2. Forget what that was. You freaked out on 4th and 2.
Was that the
That's
Are you
probably
talking
the
two they
Cole
punted
Kmet?
on?
Who knows, yeah.
What's
Or
that?
they, or
the
when
one
they
they punted on?
Yeah.
like cowards.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough. Herb was who was sitting on set with us. He loved one play call where they got Fields out of the pocket. Shout out Herb for doing his work today. And Greg Boyson making his first ever CHGO Bears debut. Guy come out. I think he came on. It was 28-7, and just went straight in the tank.
Wow, that's a good observation. I didn't realize. Jake too.
Yeah, I mean Jake came in for the rescue, and just it didn't happen.
Is he okay? Did he leave?
Well, he left the basement, so.
I think he left.
I'm a little worried about. I'm actually more worried about Jake than Braggs.
The EQ bobble was his first catch of the year off the flea flicker. At that point, Fields was 10 for 10 for 160 yards, 2 touchdowns, and his QB rating was 158.3.
Now he double caught that, and it wasn't clean, but it was a catch. Does Claypool make that play?
By the way, who did I bet on this set that Robert Tonyan would have more touchdown catches than Chase Claypool this year? Let's go, Robert Tonyan. Claypool's going to get out. I said with the Bears, by the way.
You got any funny ones in there?
I dare you guys to get us to 2,000 likes before the end of the show, before Carm's
Do I have
dumb
any
notes
funny
end.
ones in here?
2,000 likes. Come on, there's a lot of people still watching. You can get us there. Hit that like button.
We appreciate it.
There was a couple towards the end, I think.
Broker? That doesn't make sense.
If you don't even know your own notes, you A, got to write better notes. B, don't read them. I mean, it's that simple. Like, we're
Okay, you
2
need to-
hours
you-
and 18 minutes into the show.
I have funny notes.
Do
and
you?
Yes.
I haven't heard a single one
We're
yet.
waiting.
Wow.
Well, you need to settle down over there. Shout out to Matt Ryan, who doesn't know Matt Eberflus' name. Eberflus. That was
Matt Ryan, not the play-by-play guy?
That was Matt Ryan. I'm 99% certain. Hoge, I forget exactly who you told, but you said, "Oh, fuck off" to someone. I forget exactly what
Oh, that was the roughing the passer on. They called on Jaquan Brisker.
Yes, that's right.
Can't hit him high. You can't hit him low. I don't know where you can hit him anymore. It's just two-hand touch.
Yeah. And we will end with The Ryan Poles smiling. Remember that one? And then now there's a video out there.
Of
1
him not
hour.
smiling.
1 hour later.
1 hour
hour
It's a
later.
funny meme. The first shot of Pole's slots, and then it's like, what's that? And then is that the
SpongeBob.
SpongeBob thing?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
like 5 hours later or whatever.
Any
You can make
amount
it
of time.
1 hour later, and then okay.
It says
I
a
don't know.
few minutes.
I'll stay in my
later.
lane. What'd you say?
It's a few minutes later,
Oh, there we go.
not hours.
No, they do all different kinds.
do hours?
There's
Okay.
There's a ton of them.
I apologize. I stand corrected.
2
on,
hours
Bagman.
and 22 minutes later, we are done with this show.
Well, I got great news for you guys. Next Sunday, the Bears will not lose a
Yes!
football game.
Oh,
They
my
will
God.
not ruin your Sunday next week.
Unfortunately,
Just don't put the notification in your phone that they play Thursday.
they'll ruin your Friday.
No,
Yeah.
put it in there. We're going to do a great show. It's going to be amazing. And we love you.
We're back tomorrow, noon. Herb Howard will be here breaking things down with us. And then it's a quick week. We'll have shows for you every day.
Corey Wooten on After Dark.
After dark tomorrow night with Braggs. Can't wait for that. Woot's going to be on fire. He was on fire last week. I can't imagine what he's got to say after this. We got to get him one of those koozies.
We do.
And we
Yes.
drink cockies with CHGO is what this koozie says.
We got to send
Thank
one,
you,
like, immediately.
Idaho April. You're the best.
And
Traveled here from Idaho, brought us koozies. Has been a fan since Walter.
then Thursday we'll pre and post you and stay up late with you. Probably talking about another
Live
loss.
watch along with you.
Oh God,
Live
we're gonna,
watch
we're
along
gonna do a
with
watch
you.
along. Great.
That's what we do.
All right. I don't really know how to close this show. Just stay strong. I'd say keep the faith, but I don't want to say things I don't believe.
Let's see, what could we
You
do?
guys got anything better than me?
Fire somebody.
I mean, Emiliano in the chat says quick week equals quick death. So
That's what I'm saying. At least by, Friday Night Lights, we'll turn the page.
Friday.
We don't have to think about the Bears all weekend. The mini buys so they could fix everything. I don't mean that either. I'm trying.
It's not how many times you fall down in life. It's how quickly you get back up. And this show is going to get back up and be here tomorrow at noon, ready to go. We love you.
Is that it? That was the
I mean, I thought that could have been it.
Okay.
Please end the show.
Okay.